Yo legends, welcome back to the channel. Grab your headphones and lock in because today's story is on another level. Want the next chapter? Drop a comment below, and if the legend continues, I'm bringing it straight to you. Disclaimer, I do not claim ownership of this story. All rights belong to the original creators. Note, I'm constantly tweaking the settings to make it as immersive as possible. After failing the Chunin exams, I joined a crossover anime chat group. After failing the Chunin exams, I joined a crossover anime chat group. After failing the Chunin exams, I joined a crossover anime chat group. Author, WTR Scraper. All Heavens chat group, activated. Uchiha Linshi's results in the Chunin exams were not ideal. Although he scored full marks on the written exam and placed first in the Forest of Death combat trials. Unfortunately, he narrowly lost the final one-on-one round to a 60-year-old genin, missing out on his promotion to Chunin this time. What the hell, how is this right? Uchiha Lin, she stood on the veranda, staring at the Uchiha fan crest on the wall, getting angrier the more he thought about it. Didn't they say they'd judge based on performance rather than the outcome? That old man's strength was clearly far beyond a Chunin. Okay. Damn Dan. Uchiha Lin, she originally wanted to curse more, but thinking of his current situation, he silently swallowed his words and muttered to himself. Damn Danzo, he isn't even pretending anymore. He actually sent an old man with the strength of a Jonin to snipe him. That's right, Lin she didn't fail the Chunin exams because of a lack of strength. He was set up by the Konoha higher-ups. The reason for this was that he was one of the only two survivors of the night. The Uchiha clan was annihilated. He was also the only one who was semi-adult. As long as he could pass the Chunin exams and prove he was a ninja capable of standing on his own, he would be regarded as an adult with autonomy. By then, he would be the true Uchiha clan head and could take over all the property under the Uchiha name. That was quite a large fortune. Just counting the currency alone, there were countless billions, not to mention high-level ninjutsu scrolls, training notes from the Uchiha clan elite, and so on. These were all priceless treasures. Unfortunately, none of it had anything to do with him anymore. The ruthless Danzo would certainly not leave these to him. He would most likely empty out the Uchiha estate using excuses like, "You are still a minor, you can't handle such a large fortune. The village will keep it for you for now, and we will return it to you when you come of age." They would only leave behind this mansion and a small amount of monthly money for them to live on. Regarding this, the other Konoha higher-ups would only acquiesce or even adopt an attitude of cold indifference. At most, Sandane would come over to bring some fruits and vegetables. Damn it, what happened to the village that is supposed to be the most humane and built on mutual help? You fed the first Hokage's philosophy to the dogs. Uchiha Lin, she was furious in his heart, but in the end, he couldn't help but sigh. At the end of the day, it was still a lack of strength. No matter how the Naruto world was packaged, it was essentially still the cruel warring states period. How much morality could you expect from people in this era? They would even drag children to the battlefield as cannon fodder. Thinking about it now, maybe it was a good thing that he didn't pass the Chunin exams. Otherwise, the day after becoming the clan head, he would probably be found dead with 18 kunai in his back, having committed suicide. That bastard Danzo really might do something like that. I must be the most miserable transmigrator. Lin she smiled bitterly in his heart. Not only could he not protect the clan's property, he didn't even dare to loudly curse those greedy hyenas. He feared that Anbu might be monitoring him right now. Sai, things have reached this point. Let's make dinner first. Sasuke will be out of school soon. Lin, she shook his head. Just as he was about to turn back into the house, he suddenly heard a ding sound. Detected that host Uchiha Lin, she has reached 1,000 popularity points. The chat group system has been activated. At this moment, Lin, she stood frozen in place, looking at the system panel, inexplicably wanting to cry. 17 years. Do you know how I've spent these 17 years? System, you guy, you really are treating me like Lu Mingfei. Lin, she wiped the corners of his eyes, wiping away the last tear of his life. From now on, only he would make others shed tears. The 5 nations and the heavens witnessed this here. Meanwhile, the Anbu agent ordered to monitor Lin, she outside, saw Lin she wiping away his tears, and sighed, with quite a bit of sympathy. The big shots of Konoha really went too far this time, bullying a child like this. They were once a famous clan, yet they don't even have their final shred of dignity left. The Anbu couldn't help but feel a pang of pity, but he really couldn't help. He could only shake his head and disappear from the eaves. Inside the house, Lin she sat on a square cushion, studying his capabilities and efforts. As mentioned above, this so-called chat group system is divided into two parts. First is the popularity points store. One can purchase various powerful abilities using popularity points. For example, Flying Thunder God, Bloodline Limit, Sage Mode, Mangekyo, Rinnegan, etc. can all be bought with popularity points. However, the cost is also quite high. The cheapest, Flying Thunder God, costs 250,000 popularity points. Lin she currently only has 1,000 popularity points in hand, not even enough for the remainder. As for how to earn popularity points, according to the system's prompts, it requires gaining more exposure in the plot. The more important the position occupied, the higher the exposure gained, and the higher the popularity points that can be obtained. Simply put, I need to show my face right. Lin she pondered, and immediately thought of quite a few opportunities to brush his face. For example, bringing Naruto home for a meal, graffitiing on the Hokage rock, or proposing to Hyuga Hanabi. These should all be able to gain quite a lot of exposure. However, it is a pity that these risks are also quite large, especially since he is a key target of surveillance by Danzo. Rashly doing these things would only be considered as having ulterior motives. For example, whether he awakened Mangekyo, wants to control the Nine-Tailed to subvert Konoha, or wants to use the Hyuga clan's influence to stir the village into chaos. In short, in Danzo's eyes, he, the only able-bodied Uchiha left, is probably wrong even when breathing. As long as there is any disturbance, Lin she is certain that the people from Root will immediately come to investigate. Fortunately, he doesn't only have the Naruto world path to walk. Lin she looked at another icon that looked like a tomato. Chat group activate. Uchiha Lin, she has joined the group chat. Tatsumi has joined the group chat. Satoru Gojo has joined the group chat. Kachu Shinobu has joined the group chat. Misaka Mikoto has joined the group chat. Uchiha Lin, she has become the group owner. The current group chat level is LV1. Please be active to increase the group chat level. More group members are on the way. Lin she looked at the familiar names one by one and muttered, they are all popular characters. Tatsumi from Akim ga Kill, Satoru Gojo from Jujutsu Kaisen, Kachu Shinobu from Demon Slayer, and Misaka Mikoto from a certain scientific railgun. And me from the Naruto world, Lin she added silently in his heart. And just as he was thinking, the people in the group chat started to speak one after another. Tatsumi, wow, what is this? This chat group. Satoru Gojo, hey, interesting. Is this a trick played by a cursed spirit? Kachu Shinobu, a demon's illusion. When did I get caught in it? Misaka Mikoto, who is playing tricks. Misaka Mikoto, I'll count to 3 seconds. If you don't stop, it won't just be a joke anymore. Looking at the people in the group chat who were confused and acting as if they were facing a great enemy, Lin she said in the group. Lin she, everyone, no need to panic. This is just a chat group for communication and will not pose any threat to you. Lin she, I believe you all understand that you come from different worlds. Lin she, not only that, but you are all outstanding figures in your respective worlds. Lin she, my purpose in bringing you here is just to promote communication across the heavens and realize the great unification of all worlds sooner. Misaka Mikoto, such big talk, who are you? Lin she and me. Lin she smiled slightly. Lin she, you can call me, the one who knows everything, traveling the world. Lin she, you may call me, the one who knows all. Lin she, I know everything, both here and in your worlds. The one who knows all. In Academy City, a girl with shoulder-length, chestnut brown hair stood frozen in place. She was so shocked that she didn't even notice the vending machine in front of her clattering as it dispensed a drink. Her name was Misaka Mikoto. the ultra-popular young lady of Takiwadai Middle School in Academy City. She was also the third-ranked among the only 7 level 5 espers. Known by titles such as the Railgun, Takiwadai's Ace, and the Academy's strongest Electromaster. But probably no one could imagine that the idol so admired at school would, in reality, use a high kick to attack a vending machine for a free drink. Of course, this was related to an experience from her freshman year, when a vending machine swallowed a 10,000 yen note. But that wasn't important. What was important was that Misaka Mikoto was currently very surprised. Just moments ago, a pale blue panel had suddenly appeared before her eyes. She initially thought it was some Esper's prank. But as a stream of information flooded in, she was forced to accept reality. The multiverse chat group before her was real, and the people in the group were indeed from different dimensions. To think something like this could really happen, people from other worlds and all. Misaka Mikoto scratched her head, then looked at the vending machine in front of her. Tia! With a swift, 45-degree turning kick, the vending machine shuddered twice and clattered, dispensing a drink. Hehe, feeling pleased, Misaka Mikoto bent down to pick it up, but suddenly wondered, why are there 2? Sitting on a bench by the roadside, Misaka Mikoto drank her beverage while looking at the panel. But the one who knows all, that's boasting, right? If someone really could know everything, what level of Esper would they have to be? Level 5 definitely wouldn't be enough. Level 6. The moment this thought emerged, it startled Misaka Mikoto so much that she shook her head vigorously to dismiss it. Impossible, impossible. Even the one in Academy City is only level 5. How could someone from another world just casually be level 6? HMPH, it must be fake. Boasting. Misaka Mikoto decided to test him. But how should she test him? Misaka Mikoto fell into thought, then looked at the drink can in her hand. She'd just ask him what flavor drink she had today. If he couldn't answer, he was a fraud. Misaka Mikoto looked back at the chat box, only to find that a guy named Tatsumi seemed extremely excited. Tatsumi, whoa, oh, that's amazing. Seriously, someone actually believes this. A bead of sweat appeared on Misaka Mikoto's forehead. Just as she was about to expose the group admin's scam, the next messages made her pause slightly. Tatsumi, Mr. Linshi, could you please tell me where Seo and Iyasu are? Tatsumi, we're childhood friends from the same village. Because the village economy was bad, we were supposed to go to the capital together to make our fortune, but we got separated after some mishaps on the way. Tatsumi, they are very important partners to me, so I'm begging you. Tatsumi, if you can tell me their whereabouts, I can pay you. On a dirt road in the forest, a young man standing atop the massive corpse of a danger beast wore an excited expression. His name was Tatsumi, a nameless swordsman from a rural village. He was searching for his companions and heading to the capital, hunting danger beasts along the way for bounty money. While fighting an earth dragon, this pale blue panel suddenly appeared before his eyes, distracting him and nearly turning him into monster dung. Yet he held no resentment, instead looking utterly delighted. To suddenly awaken a panel, able to communicate with people from other worlds. Isn't this the kind of treatment only the protagonist in stories gets? I really must be the chosen one destined to save the village. I have to brag about this to Seo and Iyasu once I find them. As he was thinking this, Tatsumi saw a reply in the chat group. Linshi, what would I want with money from your world? Oh, well, that's true. Tatsumi scratched his head. Tatsumi, then, Mr. Linshi, you tell me what you want or what you want me to do. Linshi, anything. Tatsumi, as long as I can do it and it doesn't violate my principles. Tatsumi felt a bit uneasy inside. Why did Mr. Linshi's words give him a creepy feeling? Meanwhile, in the Naruto world, Linshi sat still, falling into slight contemplation. He recalled information about the world of Akim ga Kill. Judging from Tatsumi's words, he probably hadn't reached the capital yet. Otherwise, after having his property swindled by Leon, he likely wouldn't be this naive to trust him. That meant, according to the current timeline, Seo and Iyasu probably hadn't been tortured to death by the merchant family yet. Adopting a cautious approach, Lin-shi asked in the group. Lin-shi, how much longer until you reach the capital? Tatsumi, about 2 days. Why do you ask? Tatsumi, could it be that Seo and Ieyasu are already in the capital? Tatsumi began to wonder. Lin-shi, that's right, they're already in the capital. As expected. Tatsumi slumped dejectedly. That directionally challenged Ieyasu actually reached the capital before him. He was definitely going to get mercilessly mocked. Thinking of that scene made him uncomfortable, though more than that, he felt relief and happiness at knowing his companion's location. He needed to hurry to the capital to reunite with those two. Just as Tatsumi was about to thank Lin-shi and close the chat group, a new message caught his eye, instantly draining the light from his green eyes. Lin-shi, but they are about to die. Ho. Seo and Ieyasu are about to die. 1 second, he was immersed in the joy of finding his friends. The next, he was told they were dying. The intense emotional whiplash caused Tatsumi's brain to short-circuit on the spot. It took him a good while to snap out of it, and he hurriedly asked in the chat group, Tatsumi, at Uchiha Lin-shi, Mr. Lin-shi, what on earth is going on? Tatsumi, how could Seo and Ieyasu possibly die? They're both very capable people. Lin-shi, calm down a bit. Tatsumi, I can't calm down. Lin-shi, they're just about to die. They aren't dead yet. Seeing these words, Tatsumi grabbed onto them like a lifeline and replied urgently. Tatsumi, Mr. Lin-shi, you must have a way to save them, right? Tatsumi, please tell me. I'll do anything. Lin-shi, you're really fixated on your companions. Lin-shi, very well. Since you're so sincere, I'll help you this once. Tatsumi, thank you, Mr. Lin-shi. Lin-shi looked at the messages in the chat group and breathed a sigh of relief. The stage was set. Now it was his turn to step up and gain some popularity points. As for how he would get to the Akim ga Kill world, he already had a solution. Lin-shi's gaze fell on the group, admin's exclusive function in the chat group, multiverse travel. For a cost of 1,000 popularity points, he could stay in a group member's world for 24 hours. Truly a good friend for going to other worlds to show off and dominate. To gain popularity points. Without much hesitation, he directly clicked the function. A window immediately popped up before his eyes. Spend 1,000 popularity points to travel to group member Tatsumi's world. Akim ga Kill. Yes. Initiating multiverse travel. Time in the current world is now paused. Have a pleasant journey. Seeing that time in the Naruto world would pause during the journey, Lin-shi's last remaining worry vanished. In the ensuing silence, the surrounding time and objects gradually came to a standstill. And Lin-shi's figure completely disappeared from the Uchiha residence. Crimson eyes. The feeling of traveling between worlds was, in a way, simpler than Lin-shi had imagined. There was no bizarre, kaleidoscopic tunnel, nor any dizzying sense of the world turning upside down. One moment his eyes were open, the next they were closed, and the scenery before him had changed. On both sides were lush, green forests. On the endless stretch of less road ahead lay the corpse of a massive, monstrous creature. Standing atop the corpse was a brown-haired youth in simple, beige robes, staring at him with a dazed expression. Lin-shi's gaze fell on the boy's innocent face, and he immediately recognized his identity. The protagonist of the kill, Akim ga Kill World Tatsumi. You are Mr. Lin-shi. Tatsumi stared at the man who had appeared out of thin air, taking a good while to regain his composure. That's right, it's me. Lin-shi nodded in acknowledgement. Seeing Lin-shi's calm and composed demeanor, Tatsumi was momentarily at a loss for words. Although he had been mentally prepared and had accepted the concept of multiple worlds, witnessing someone actually crossing over from another world firsthand still gave him quite a shock. What are you standing there for? Don't you want to save your companions? Hearing this, Tatsumi hurriedly jumped down from the danger beast's corpse. Mr. Lin-shi, what exactly happened to Seo and Ieyasu? We'll talk on the way. Oh's okay. The moment Tatsumi turned around, she grabbed the back of his collar and began running towards the direction of the capital. Wah. Due to the ninja running posture, Tatsumi was held out like a carp streamer on a pole, fluttering in the wind, and couldn't help but scream. Mr. Linshi, I can walk by myself." Being dragged along was not a pleasant feeling. Tatsumi felt his head spinning, on the verge of throwing up. "For every minute we are late, your companions will be in greater danger. Even knowing that, do you still insist on walking by yourself?" That single sentence immediately snapped Tatsumi back to his senses. That's right, his companions were in the capital, their fates unknown. The sooner he arrived, the safer they would be. How could he be so selfish, prioritizing his own temporary comfort over the life-and-death situation of his comrades? An expression of remorse flashed across Tatsumi's face, quickly replaced by one of firm resolve. "Mr. Linshi, please proceed at full speed. I can endure it." "Good." Linshi smiled, quite satisfied with Tatsumi's response. With the aid of chakra and wind release, his running speed was more than double Tatsumi's. Rather than both of them running together, it was faster for him to drag Tatsumi along. Moreover, he could only stay in this world for 24 hours. He had to reach the rich merchant's house quickly to enter the plot and rescue Tatsumi's companions. Otherwise, the invested popularity points would all go down the drain. Thinking of this, Linshi unconsciously quickened his pace. Such incredible speed. Mr. Linshi is amazing. Watching the scenery rapidly recede behind them, Tatsumi couldn't help but feel reassured. Mr. Linshi was so powerful. Surely he could save Seo and Iyasu too, right? In that case, he could afford to rest for a bit. Amidst Linshi's high-speed jostling, Tatsumi fell into a sleep as deep as a baby's. As the two hurried towards the capital, the others in the chat group were also lost in their own thoughts. Misaka Mikoto, why did they suddenly stop talking? Weren't they going to help Tatsumi? Misaka Mikoto, at Uchiha Linshi at Tatsumi. Misaka Mikoto scratched her head. Having grown up in a modern urban setting, she was naturally extremely familiar with the functions of chat groups. Generally speaking, if two people in a group chat suddenly stopped talking, it was highly likely they had switched to private messaging. However, she searched through all the chat group's functions and couldn't find any private message window. So what exactly happened to these two? As she pondered, another woman in the chat group spoke. Kachu Shinobu, that Mr. Linshi from earlier said he was going to help Tatsumi. Kachu Shinobu, is it possible the two have already met? Met? Misaka Mikoto was startled. Did that Linshi go to Tatsumi's world? Was that even possible? Misaka Mikoto instinctively wanted to dismiss this absurd idea, but reason told her it wasn't an impossible occurrence. Didn't that guy called Uchiha Linshi say from the very beginning that he wanted to achieve the unification of all worlds? If he couldn't even travel between worlds freely, how could he possibly achieve such a goal? Misaka Mikoto felt a bit uneasy. It seemed she had gotten herself involved in something extraordinary. What should she do? Report it to Academy City? Would they even believe what she said? Knowing everything, traveling between worlds, it all sounded far too fantastical. If others heard, they might think she had gone crazy. Misaka Mikoto irritably ran her fingers through her hair. After agonizing for a long time, she finally decided to let it go. I'll observe for a while longer. This guy named Linshi might have ambitions, but he hasn't done anything bad, right? He's even enthusiastically helping a fellow group member. Maybe he's a good person. Misaka Mikoto scratched her head and laughed awkwardly. Gojo Satoru, traveling between worlds, sounds interesting. It's like a setting straight out of an anime. Gojo Satoru, I wonder if there are people as strong as me in other worlds. I'm really looking forward to it. In a schoolyard at night, a man with a blindfold and spiky-up hair let out an excited laugh. His name was Gojo Satoru, the strongest jujutsu sorcerer of the modern era. As a man destined to be the strongest from birth, he had always endured the loneliness that came with standing at the pinnacle. He had thought there were few things left in this world that could pique his interest. Yet tonight, two such things appeared at once. The first was this suddenly appearing chat group. At first, he thought it might be some trick played by a cursed spirit. However, he quickly dismissed that idea because he couldn't sense any trace of cursed energy. Therefore, this thing definitely wasn't created by a cursed spirit. It wasn't even something that should exist in this world. In that case, the only explanation was that it was a product from another world. Fortunately, having grown up in a modern urban setting, Gojo Satoru had a strong capacity for acceptance and didn't feel repelled by the chat group's existence. In fact, he even felt a faint sense of anticipation. Anticipation for more interesting things and for more powerful people. The corners of Gojo Satoru's lips curled up. A sound suddenly rang out beside him. Gojo Satoru looked at the pink-haired student-athlete standing opposite him and laughed. Sorry, I was just thinking about something else. Where were we? You told me to switch with Sukuna. Itadori Yuji scratched his head. Ah, right. Gojo Satoru tossed the bag in his hand to the black-haired boy beside him and began stretching his legs to warm up. 10 seconds. After 10 seconds, you switch back with Sukuna. But Itadori Yuji hesitated slightly. It's fine. After all, I am the strongest. Gojo Satoru smiled confidently. This pink-haired student-athlete before him was the second interesting thing he had encountered tonight. An ordinary person who could swallow the special grade cursed object, Ryomen Sukuna's finger, without being affected. Meanwhile, in a traditional, quaint compound called the Butterfly Mansion, Kachu Shinobu sat on the Engawa, her expression complicated as she looked at the chat group's message history. Knowing everything. Why did it only come now? If the chat group had come earlier, perhaps her sister wouldn't have died. Thinking of her sister, killed by a demon, Shinobu unconsciously clenched the hands resting on her knees. A sense of tragic melancholy, of fate being unkind and life playing cruel tricks, arose in her heart. In the end, it all dissolved into a single sigh. As long as I have a sudden whim. The night in the imperial capital was always clearly divided. One side was a gloomy, silent darkness, with not even a soul visible on the streets. The other side, however, was the complete opposite. Brightly lit, with officials and nobles indulging in pleasure at various entertainment venues, living in extravagance. What a truly detestable yet lovable country. Linshi watched this scene, sighing inwardly. He detested it because everywhere there was an air of class injustice and decay. It was rotten from top to bottom, even more so than the Naruto world. Yet he liked it for the same reason. Precisely because it was so rotten, so many tragedies occurred. Thinking of the female characters who died tragically in the original work, he felt regret, but also an undeniable eagerness. These were all pure popularity points. As long as he could get involved and change the fated deaths of these female characters, his popularity points would surely skyrocket. By then, with that huge sum, he would first buy a Rinnegan, then a Tenseigan, directly transforming into a happy Superman, and never eat beef in the ninja world. As for Danzo and Hanzo, they would all be kicked to death like stray dogs by the roadside. And Tsunade and Conan, he'd bring them all back as maids. Tusk, just thinking about it makes him a little excited. She wiped the drool from the corner of his mouth and rushed towards the luxurious manor ahead. That was the location of the wealthy merchant's family who brutally murdered Seo and Ieyasu in the original work, and it was also his destination for this trip. As long as he went in and rescued Seo and Ieyasu from the clutches of the wealthy merchant's family, this mission would be successfully completed. Soon, as Linshi approached, the guards patrolling the entrance became vigilant. Who are you? Stop quickly, otherwise I'll have to make a move. In response to the guard's warning, Linshi's answer was, 2 shurikens. Clang, clang. The sound of metal clashing echoed. The 2 guards were not ordinary individuals. They easily blocked the shurikens and aimed their weapons at Linshi. One of them even shouted, enemy attack, enemy attack. Immediately, 4 or 5 more guards rushed out from inside the house, armed with weapons. Tatsumi, who had been in a daze, also woke up, grabbing the long sword on his back. Mr. Linshi, these guys look strong. Let me down and let's fight together. No need. Linshi's speed did not decrease. A kunai with a paper talisman appeared in his hand at some point, spinning on his index finger. He looked at the 7 well-trained guards in front of him, his tone calm yet cold. This level, if I'm in the mood, is enough to kill everyone. Mr. Linshi, his words are so cool. Tatsumi stared blankly at Linshi's profile. Whoosh! The kunai flew out, shooting towards a guard, but was caught by them. The opponent had also heard Linshi's words, revealing a hint of disdain. Kid, with only this much strength, you dare to boast. Bang! Before he could finish speaking, the kunai in his hand suddenly exploded. The closest few were injured by the explosion, and the guard who had caught it with his hand turned dark and died on the spot. Explosion, how is that possible? Beware of his hidden weapons. The remaining few were in a frantic scramble, completely unaware of the developing vortex at their feet. Wind release, wind kill array. Linshi formed a hand seal with one hand. The next second, the subtle vortex transformed into a raging tornado, instantly blowing several guards into the sky, then smashing them heavily to the ground. Accompanied by several screams and thuds, the few who had been lively moments before all turned into corpses. So powerful, Tatsumi watched this scene in shock. What was that? To be able to control wind, that's too cool. Tatsumi looked at Linshi with admiration. Mr. Linshi, I want to learn that. Can you teach me? I'll do anything. All you think about is showing off, Linshi said helplessly. We'll talk about it if there's an opportunity. Thank you, Mr. Linshi. Tatsumi blissfully fantasized about getting enough money to pay the heavy taxes and returning to his village on auspicious, colorful clouds. Linshi, meanwhile, was contemplating the benefits of teaching Tatsumi ninjutsu. As the male protagonist of the Akame ga Kill world, Tatsumi was undoubtedly the person who triggered the most plotlines. Not to mention the main storylines, there were also quite a few scenes of daily training. If Tatsumi could learn ninjutsu and mention his master during his daily training, would that count as him participating in the plot? With just a little initial investment, he could continuously gain popularity points. It's a good investment. But it still needed careful consideration. After all, Tatsumi only needed to train diligently, while Linshi had a lot more to consider. After all, learning ninjutsu wasn't an overnight thing, and merely describing it in the chat group wouldn't convey its essence. He would definitely need to come here and teach it hands-on. If he invested too many popularity points and couldn't earn them back, he would suffer a huge loss. Moreover, whether Tatsumi had the talent for it was another question. By the way, do people outside the Naruto world have chakra? Unfortunately, Linshi was not a sensory ninja, nor did he have chakra paper, otherwise he would know the answer immediately. Inside the manor, in a secluded warehouse. Seo. Hearing the call, Seo woke from her unconsciousness, opening her eyes to find herself hanging. What happened? She was slightly stunned, her head throbbing uncontrollably. She remembered that she and Ieyasu had just arrived in the imperial capital, been swindled out of all their money, and were sleeping on the streets when they met a kind young lady who took them in and even treated them to a meal. And then Seo tried to recall what happened next, but her memory ended there. Even if she was naive, she realized she had been drugged. Right, Ieyasu, where was Ieyasu? Seo remembered the earlier call and turned her head, only to see a scene like hell on earth. Everywhere were mutilated corpses, covered in wounds, hanging from the ceiling just like her. Inside iron cages, people with large crimson spots on their bodies and emitting a decaying smell struggled in agony. What is this? Seo's pupils dilated in shock. Seo. Inside the cage closest to the door, a boy tied to a chair with a turban around his head called out. Ieyasu. Seeing that Ieyasu was fine, Seo breathed a sigh of relief. But the danger was not over, she asked. What's the situation now? Not sure, Ieyasu shook his head. I only woke up a little earlier than you, but it looks like we've been kidnapped. I wonder how Miss Iria is doing. A mocking laugh suddenly came from a neighboring cage. Both of them looked over simultaneously, finding a pale, emaciated person sitting in the corner. Two more unlucky souls who were tricked, he said. Hey uncle, do you know something? What does tricked mean? Ieyasu asked. It means exactly what it says. The pale man smiled weakly. You were all deceived by that woman Iria. She's not a kind young lady at all, but a sadist. Using sweet words to lure outsiders, imprisoning them here and torturing them to death, that's her true face. Cough, cough. As the pale man spoke, he suddenly coughed up blood and collapsed weakly to the ground. "Hey uncle, don't die," Ieyasu shouted loudly. However, the pale man's eyes had already lost focus, and he showed no signs of life. "It can't be." Seeing this scene, Iyasu's heart turned cold, as if he saw his own end. Damn it, damn it. Ieyasu blamed himself endlessly for his carelessness. He never expected to be tricked twice, in just one day after arriving in the imperial capital. The first time he was swindled out of his money, and the second time he might even lose his life. What kind of place was this? The imperial capital was too dark. Seo's emotions were also complicated after hearing this. She found it hard to imagine that the blonde young lady with the sweet smile could be such a person. But the facts were laid out before her, and even if she wanted to deny it, she couldn't. Just then, the iron door of the warehouse suddenly opened, and a sweet face peered in, looking around with a worried expression. Upon seeing the two, her eyes lit up, and she happily said, "Great, Seo, Ieyasu, you're both fine. I've come to rescue you." Seeing their unresponsive faces, Iria said pitifully, "WH, what's wrong? Your faces look so scary. Is it because I came too late? I'm sorry." "Stop pretending here," Seo interrupted. Everyone ate the same food, yet only the two of them were captured, while the powerless Iria was fine. Now she was pulling this act, practically treating them like fools. The wronged expression on Iria's face vanished, replaced by a chilling coldness. You've already figured it out. It seems you country bumpkin livestock aren't completely stupid after all." She twirled her golden curls around her finger. "How boring. I was hoping to see your expressions when you realized you'd been betrayed." Iria waited for a moment, then asked, "Aren't you going to beg me for mercy?" "Who would beg someone like you for mercy?" Seo said coldly. "Mere livestock, how arrogant." These words completely darkened Iria's face. She stepped forward and slapped Seo hard. Slap! A crisp sound echoed in the warehouse. "Seo," Ieyasu struggled, angrily saying, "You bastard, come at me. Don't touch Seo." "Don't worry, your turn will come soon." Iria turned back and said, "My mama has a hobby of making people take large amounts of medicine and recording their reactions, so she's currently choosing which medicine you'll take." Then she looked back at Seo, gently stroking her soft, long hair. "Too arrogant," Iria murmured. "You're just an animal, yet your hair is so soft and shiny. It's truly too arrogant." Her face gradually twisted with jealousy, and her sweet voice turned sinister. "I struggle with my curly hair every day, so why does a country bumpkin like you have such good hair quality?" Having vented all the darkness in her heart, Iria was panting. She looked up slightly, hoping to see some panic or fear on Seo's face. However, Seo merely smiled calmly, with a hint of pity. "What a pitiful creature." These words completely ignited the rage in Iria's heart, causing her to break down and yell. "You pity me? How dare you pity me? How can a country bumpkin like you, who can only bathe in the river, have the right to pity me?" Seo remained silent, a faint, almost imperceptible sneer playing on her lips. This only intensified the violence in Iria's heart. She grabbed a torture instrument from a nearby table. Indeed, livestock like you need to be properly disciplined. Seo's suspended hands clenched into fists, her breathing becoming slightly hurried. Indeed, when death approached, she couldn't truly remain calm. If only someone could come and save her. But how could that be? They had no relatives in the imperial capital. Who would risk coming to save them? Seo gave a self-deprecating smile, and just as she was bracing herself to endure the pain. Bang! The warehouse door was kicked open. The three were drawn by the commotion and looked over simultaneously. Amidst the swirling smoke, a majestic figure slowly appeared, illuminated by the moonlight. Plot complete. Who is he? Seo's pupils dilated as she struggled to make out the figure in front of the door, her heart pounding in her chest. Could it be that he came to save them? A familiar voice rang out from within the smoke. "Seo Ieyasu, I've come to save you." "Tatsumi!" Seo and Ieyasu exclaimed simultaneously. They never expected that their childhood friend, from whom they had been separated on the road, would appear at this moment. It was just in the nick of time. "Well done, Tatsumi," Iyasu shouted excitedly. Although they didn't know how Tatsumi found out they were here. But since he was here, the crisis was averted. Seo felt relieved. However, she still had one question. Was Tatsumi really this tall? In her memory, Tatsumi was about the same height as her, but the figure in the smoke looked at least a head taller than her. Sure enough, when the smoke cleared, standing there was a handsome, unfamiliar man. Huh, isn't that Tatsumi? Iyasu was dumbfounded, but the voice that just came from there was definitely Tatsumi's, right? Seo was also confused. As an archer, her 5 senses were exceptionally sharp. It was impossible for her to have misheard her companion's voice. So Tatsumi must be here. Where on earth had he gone? Bleck! A retching sound suddenly came from the side of the door, and Tatsumi poked his head out, his face looking green. "Seo Iyasu, I've come to save Yo-ah." Halfway through his sentence, he covered his mouth and retreated, followed immediately by another round of retching. Seo and Iyasu watched with sweat drops on their foreheads. Tatsumi, how pathetic. Another animal from the countryside. Iria's expression changed drastically, and she said in a panic, "Guards, where are the guards? Hurry up and arrest these people." "I'll send you to see them," Linshi said coldly, throwing a kunai. Iria, who was trying to escape, was struck in the back of the head by the kunai, staggered, fell into the warehouse basement, and died on the spot. Linshi then looked at Seo, who was hanging in midair, and casually threw a kunai to cut the rope. Seo landed on the ground, rubbed her wrists, and said, "Thank you." "You're welcome," Linshi said. He looked toward the direction of the manor, calculating in his mind. Iria was dead. All that remained now were her parents. That squinty-eyed, cunning housewife, and the hypocritical, nondescript wealthy merchant. Tatsumi also regained his composure, and stepped forward to untie Iyasu's rope. "Tatsumi." Having survived the ordeal, Iyasu hugged his friend in relief. "Iyasu, you're hugging too tight." Tatsumi sniffled, his eyes slightly damp. Looking at the situation, if they had arrived any later, the consequences would have been unimaginable. It was good that they made it in time. It was truly fortunate. Seo walked over to the two of them and asked the question on her mind. "Tatsumi, how did you know we were here?" As she spoke, her gaze involuntarily drifted toward Linshi at the door. Tatsumi let go of Iyasu and wiped the tears from the corners of his eyes. It's all thanks to Mr. Linshi. So his name is Lin, she. Seo chewed over the name twice in her heart. Iyasu also looked curiously at the figure at the door. Just as Tatsumi was about to introduce Linshi and his adventure, a faint cracking sound suddenly rang out in the forest. It sounded like someone stepping on a branch. This sound immediately alerted the three of them. "Who is it?" Linshi said calmly. Sorry, did I disturb you?" A tall figure emerged from the forest, a very beautiful woman. She had fluffy golden hair and eyes, a pretty face, and a hot figure. Most striking were the cat ears on her head and her fuzzy hands, making her look just like a bee-steered girl straight out of a manga. She recognized this person. A member of the assassination organization Night Raid in the world of Akim Ga Kill, named Leon. Those cat ears and claws were not props, but the true form after transforming with the Tegu Lionel. Was my way of greeting wrong? Why are you all not saying anything? Leon tilted her head in confusion. Seo and Iyasu in the warehouse had suffered greatly at Iria's hands, so seeing Leon's blonde hair triggered a stress response in them. Especially since the other person was covered in blood, which made the urge to hiss reach its peak. Their spines were tense, their expressions vigilant. They had clearly entered combat mode. Although Tatsumi didn't quite understand the situation, seeing his companions hissing, he felt a bit out of place if he didn't do the same. So he also placed his hand behind his back, ready to draw his sword at any moment. The only ones still calm on the scene were Linshi and Leon. Leon was completely bewildered, although she usually liked to tell little lies and swindle some pocket money from out-of-towners. But this time, she hadn't swindled these three people, so why were they hissing as soon as they saw her? Was her beast-transformed appearance too terrifying? That shouldn't be it. Leon scratched her head, unable to figure it out. Sai, I got my kill stolen. Lin Shi sighed silently in his heart. From the moment the blood-stained Leon appeared, Lin Shi knew that Iria's parents were already dead. By the time he reached the warehouse, Leon had also broken into the manor. He had originally planned to take the 3 little ones to slaughter the 2 old things and farm another wave of popularity points. What a pity. But it wasn't a big problem. Iria's parents had even less screen time in the plot than the 2 guards, belonging to the category of passersby among passersby. They probably wouldn't have yielded many popularity points, even if he had killed them. As long as the head of the important villain was his, that was all that mattered. Lin Shi thought this, his gaze falling on Leon. Tatsumi. I'm here, Mr. Lin Shi. Tatsumi stood up straight, like a primary school student being called upon. Your purpose in coming to the imperial capital was to join the army and then earn enough money to help your village get through its crisis, right? That's right. Tatsumi scratched his head, wondering why Mr. Lin Shi would suddenly bring this up. Since that's the case, you should go with this woman. Lin Shi turned back, pointing his thumb at Leon in front of him. Meow, meow, meow. Leon looked blankly adorable. Huh? Tatsumi was also confused, looking at Leon. Could it be that this big-breasted, no, this beautiful older sister, is a high-ranking official in the military? Lin Shi shook his head. No, she is a member of the assassination organization Night Raid, which is currently wanted by the imperial capital. Seo, wanted. Ieyasu, assassins. That's not right. Tatsumi hurriedly said, Mr. Lin Shi, it's true that we need money, but earning money by killing people. If that's the concern, you don't need to worry. Lin Shi smiled. Although Night Raid is a group of weirdos, they do good things. They only target the corrupt elements of the imperial capital. To give an example, Tatsumi, if you were asked to kill the wealthy merchant's family here, would you do it? Yes, Tatsumi answered without hesitation. Suppose they hadn't kidnapped your companions? Lin Shi asked again. I would too, Tatsumi answered instantly. Even if they hadn't kidnapped Seo and Ieyasu, judging by this family's crimes, they deserved to be hacked to pieces. Tatsumi felt no burden in his heart to take action against such people. Then joining Night Raid won't be a problem at all. Lin Shi said, even if you don't want to kill, it doesn't matter. There are also some clerical jobs in Night Raid. If the 3 of you work together, there will certainly be no problem supporting the village. Hearing this, Tatsumi no longer hesitated and nodded in agreement. I understand, Mr. Lin Shi. Very good, Tatsumi, Lin Shi said with a smile. What about my opinion? An ill-timed voice sounded, and everyone looked at Leon, who was speaking. She said with a speechless expression, What are you all talking about on your own? I haven't agreed to let them join Night Raid yet. And you, how do you seem to know so much about us? Leon. Leon was taken aback. She shouldn't have mentioned her name. How did this guy know it? Akame Shiel Mine Biolet Lubbock. Lin Shi then recited the real names of the Night Raid members, excluding the boss. She could understand Akame and Biolet, as they were former Imperial members. But how were the others exposed? And Mine and Lubbock, those 2 should never have been wanted. Who are you? Leon's pupils shook, and she involuntarily clenched her fists, her murderous intent boiling over. This person must not be left alive. No matter who he was, he had to be dealt with immediately. Even if she didn't kill him, she had to control him. Otherwise, the threat to Night Raid would simply be too great. Feeling the murderous intent emanating from Leon, Lin Shi just smiled. You'll know in the future. Anyway, I'll leave these 3 to you. They are all quite talented people, and will certainly come in handy. The next second, the time limit for traveling through worlds arrived, and Lin Shi disappeared from the spot. Disappeared, Leon's pupils constricted slightly. She did know of a tegu that could make people disappear into thin air, but according to Night Raid's information, this tegu should be in the hands of the minister's son, Sira. How on earth did the other party do it? This guy is not simple. I must report this to the boss immediately. What's going on? Mr. Lin Shi disappeared. Leon looked up at the sound and saw that the shock on the faces of the trio on the other side was no less than her own. Only the brown-haired boy in the middle was slightly better. He was only surprised for a moment before immediately calming down. It seemed like he knew something. Thinking of the words that person said before disappearing, Leone scratched her head helplessly. Although she didn't see any talent in these three, since things had reached this point, she might as well take them back. Hey, you three boys over there. Leone walked toward the three of them. Naruto world, in the Uchiha residence. With Lin Shi's appearance, everything around seemed to shed its gloom and come back to life. The bamboo fountain in the courtyard began to make its clack-clack sound again, and a breeze blew through the treetops, making a rustling noise. Lin Shi slowly opened his eyes and looked at the transparent panel in front of him. Congratulations on successfully participating in the first act of Akame ga Kill. Darkness of the Imperial Capital, the beginning. Initial screening popularity points earned, 10,000 plus 0. Estimated subsequent weekly popularity points, 500. Current evaluation, D, no additional popularity points. Would you like to view the bullet comments for this plot? Tip, viewing bullet comments allows you to know the audience's evaluation of the plot, which might give you inspiration to improve your next plot evaluation. Bullet comments, Sasuke and Naruto. Bullet comments. Lin Shi was slightly stunned when he saw the end. Someone is actually watching him. Lin Shi was startled at first, but quickly regained his composure. It seems normal too. Popularity points, where would they come from if no one was watching? As for this evaluation, D. Lin Shi twitched his mouth. He tried so hard, yet he only got a D. Judging from the information, a D rating cannot grant any extra popularity points. It should be the lowest rating. Lin Shi pondered for a moment, then immediately opened the bullet comment list. He wanted to see what these bullet comments were up to, daring to give him, the MVP, a D. Soon, streams of bullet comments floated past his eyes. Where did this come from? Akame ga Kill actually has no one dying. It's better if no one dies. The original Akame ga Kill novel made me cry over deaths. I hope the remake doesn't kill anyone off again. They probably won't kill anyone else, right? Even the cannon fodder who died at the beginning were saved. Seo and Ieyasu are not cannon fodder. They are Tatsumi's childhood friends, and their talents are superior to Tatsumi's, okay? Super loud. The person above is being ridiculous. Which sentence said those two are more talented than Tatsumi? It seems the plot is going to change drastically this time, since even these two people were saved. I doubt it. Didn't he still join Night Raid? It's probably just to make up for the audience's regrets. The plot shouldn't change too much. The two childhood friends will definitely disappear later. The plot is still the same old routine, but this time they added scenes where others didn't die, just leveraging nostalgia to make money. Disappearing is basically the same as dying, isn't it? Woo, don't say that. I'm satisfied just seeing that they didn't die. But this plot is too terrible. What unit is Lin Shi from? Deus Ex Machina, Forced Rescue. I also don't understand the move to add a Lin Shi. This character wasn't in the original work at all. It seems like a new character from the Naruto remake next door, Uchiha Sasuke's older brother. After reading the bullet comments, Lin Shi fell into deep thought. He understood why his rating was so low. Mainly, his style was completely incompatible with the Akame ga Kill world. There was no one as handsome as him there. Cough, cough, that's just one reason. The more important reason was his low recognition. Most people had no idea what unit he belonged to, so they were completely confused when they saw him. For example, if the ones who appeared this time were the adult Naruto and Sasuke. The audience would immediately understand, oh, so people from the Naruto world came to save the day. Based on their familiarity with the Naruto world and its characters, they would start anticipating what kind of sparks the characters from the two worlds would create. But Lin Shi couldn't do that. He didn't possess that level of popularity. So when people saw him appear, they only felt bewildered and bored. So, increasing the popularity of this world is also very important. Lin Shi took a deep breath, feeling that the path of the happy Superman was long and arduous. For now, he should just be careful Superman. He opened the popularity store again, wanting to see what he could buy with 10,000 popularity points. But he found that a new page had suddenly appeared in the store. Naruto World Akimga Kill World. As long as I've been to a world, I can unlock the corresponding world store. She guessed that the items he could buy with 10,000 popularity points in the Naruto world were limited, but he might be able to find some good things in the stores of other worlds. He opened the store page for the Akimga Kill World. Tatsumi's swordsmanship, advanced, 1,000 popularity points. Leon's taijutsu, advanced, 1,000 popularity points. Akame's swordsmanship, master level, 2,000 popularity points. Bulet's taijutsu, master level, 2,000 popularity points. So cheap. Shi's eyes lit up. Although, due to the world setting, the combat power ceiling of the Akimga Kill World was much lower than the Naruto world, and the merchandise was also scarcer. But conversely, the prices of goods in the Akimga Kill World were much cheaper than those in the Naruto world. Moreover, many things inside were still very useful for Shi, a genin. For instance, this master-level taijutsu, if converted, would be roughly equivalent to the strength of an elite Chunin. Although Shi currently possesses the strength of an ordinary Chunin, he is still quite far from an elite Chunin. Without the sudden activation of the Sharingan, it would take at least half a year of training. But now, with just 2,000 popularity points, he could make a leap in strength, directly saving half a year of strenuous training. The same level of improvement would cost 50,000 popularity points in the Naruto world. Compared like this, the prices in the Akimga Kill World are truly conscientious. This is truly the people's goods store. Shi sighed emotionally and bought Bulet's taijutsu. Purchase successful. The moment the prompt sounded, Shi felt as if some kind of power was being infused into his body, his muscles slightly bulging, and a small figure wielding a spear appeared before his eyes. Following the figure's every move, he seemed to enter a state of learning. Soon, Shi recovered, and countless insights into taijutsu appeared in his mind. It was as if he were a master who had been immersed in the way of taijutsu for many years, the skill practically integrated into his body, becoming part of his instinct. Awesome, lying at home, taijutsu grows in my heart. Shi couldn't hold it in. His bloodline awakened instantly, performing the classic Uchiha maniacal laugh on the spot. Hey, hey, hey. Just you wait, Danzo. Sooner or later, I'm going to spin you into a top. She opened the chat group again. Tatsumi should still be on his way to night raid, and everyone else probably had their own things to do, so the group was deserted right now. It seems I need to upgrade the chat group level and pull more people in. She glanced at the conditions for upgrading the chat group level. Moving from LV1 to LV2 wasn't difficult. The chat group activity only needed to reach 100. Currently, the chat group activity is 10. The condition for gaining activity is sending messages. One person can provide a maximum of 2 activity points per day by sending 2 messages. There are 5 people in the group now, so it will only take a few days. Closing the chat group, Shi stretched. It's time to go pick up Sasuke from school. As the only person in the school, whose entire clan was slaughtered by his own older brother. Uchiha Sasuke's eyes always held a melancholy that his classmates could not understand. Whenever he thought of the scene of the clan massacre night, the sense of loneliness emanating from him grew stronger. He seemed out of place among the classmates waiting for their parents. Sasuke-kun, the pink-haired girl said worriedly. Uchiha Sasuke ignored her. The pink-haired girl wanted to say something more, but a call of Sakura sounded in the distance. Sakura Haruno hesitated, then waved lightly, saying, "My parents are here to pick me up. Sasuke-kun, see you tomorrow." Having said that, she ran towards the Haruno couple who came to pick her up, and they left the school together. Uchiha Sasuke, who remained in place, darkened his expression. "See you tomorrow, see what? Your parents coming to pick you up. This guy, I feel like she's constantly provoking me." Uchiha Sasuke wore a gloomy expression, and the low pressure around him intensified. Some classmates close to him unconsciously moved away, as if the 3 meters around him were a vacuum. As soon as Lin Shi arrived at the Ninja Academy, he spotted his own withdrawn child immediately. He smiled wryly and shook his head, calling out gently, "Sasuke." "Big brother Lin Shi." Uchiha Sasuke heard the call, looked up, and seeing it was Lin Shi, the gloom on his face vanished, and he ran toward him quickly. Previously, to look cool, he always forbade his family from picking him up, walking home alone after school. But after the clan massacre, he realized how happy it was to have someone pick him up. "Slow down, no need to rush." Lin Shi patted Uchiha Sasuke's head. "Let's go home." Uchiha Sasuke nodded heavily. Just as the two were about to turn and leave, Lin Shi's peripheral vision suddenly caught a solitary figure by the swing set. He could faintly hear sounds of pointing and whispering nearby. That must be him, that monster. I really don't understand why Hokage-sama allows him to attend school. I heard his grades at the Ninja Academy are terrible. Serves him right, it would be terrible if someone like him became a ninja. Wait, Koji, didn't I tell you not to go near that child? Every sentence of sarcasm and cold stare constantly shot towards that lonely figure, causing him to gradually lower his head, his shadow stretching longer and longer in the twilight. They know he's a monster and still dare to breathe down his neck. Aren't they afraid he'll turn dark and salad all of them? Lin Shi took in the entire scene, sighing helplessly. I can only say they live up to their name as Konoha's difficult citizens. They even dare to bully the Hyuga clan's Byakugan princess, so what is a small orphan disliked by everyone? Big brother Lin Shi, Uchiha Sasuke looked up in confusion. Hearing this, Lin Shi snapped back to reality and smiled at Sasuke. "Let's set one more pair of chopsticks tonight." Huh? Before Uchiha Sasuke could react, he saw Lin Shi walking towards the yellow-haired little boy sitting on the swing. "Your name is Uzumaki Naruto, right?" Uzumaki Naruto seemed surprised that someone called his name and couldn't help but freeze. He looked up and saw a gentle, smiling face, with a pair of black eyes looking at him, feeling not even a hint of malice. Yes. A trace of warmth welled up in Uzumaki Naruto's heart. "And you, big brother." "Lin Shi, Uchiha Lin Shi." "Uchiha, big brother, are you Sasuke's older brother?" "That's right, you're quite smart," Lin Shi praised. Uzumaki Naruto scratched his head shyly. This was the first time he had ever been praised by a stranger. "Our Sasuke is always alone lately, and I'm worried he'll be bullied at school because he can't make friends." Lin Shi coaxed, "I see Naruto is a good kid. Can I ask you to be friends with him?" Leave it to me." Uzumaki Naruto jumped off the swing and patted his chest in assurance. "Naruto is very reliable," Lin Shi smiled. "As a thank you, please come to my house for a casual meal tonight." "About that?" Uzumaki Naruto hesitated slightly. He didn't think this was anything that needed special thanks. Furthermore, everyone in the village dislikes him. If he gets too close to Lin Shi, won't those stares affect him too? Just as he hesitated, Lin Shi gently said, "Naruto is a child who is very considerate of others. But if you only ever think of others, you will lose yourself. So, occasionally, you must think of yourself too." Uzumaki Naruto stared blankly at Lin Shi. He didn't quite understand the meaning of Lin Shi's words, but looking at those calm black eyes, his body gradually warmed up and he nodded heavily. "I understand. Thank you, big brother Lin Shi. I should be the one thanking you." Lin Shi smiled faintly, saying softly to himself, "Congratulations on successfully participating in the first act of Naruto, Kyubai's Childhood, Part 1 plotline. Popularity points gained from first screening, 20,000 plus 10000. Estimated popularity points gained weekly thereafter, 1,000. Rating received this time, see gained double popularity points. You regret my shadow, Hokage office. If you dare to bring the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki home for dinner today, I shudder to think what you might dare to do tomorrow." Danzo Shimura sat in his chair, his eyes filled with uncontrollable anger. "Hiruzen, what are you still hesitating for? Such a factor detrimental to the village should be eradicated immediately." Hiruzen Sarutobi sat behind his desk, holding a pipe, and exhaled a puff of smoke. "Danzo, you are too suspicious. Lin Shi is just a child. he won't be a threat to the village. But he is Uchiha. Danzo Shimura narrowed his eyes. What if one day he awakens the Mangekyou Sharingan? Here we go again. Hiruzen Sarutobi looked at his old friend with a headache. In his eyes, the people of the Uchiha clan seemed to be born evil and anti-Konoha. Can't Uchiha be kind and loving? What a prejudice. Hiruzen Sarutobi couldn't help but say, "What's wrong with Uchiha? Uchiha is also a part of the village. Does awakening the Mangekyou necessarily mean they will betray Konoha?" HMPH, that's hard to say. Danzo Shimura sneered. "Sai, it's impossible to continue. This is typical anti-Uchiha thinking." Hiruzen Sarutobi felt very tired and waved his hand. "Don't think I don't know your little thoughts. Root members monitor Lin Shi 24 hours a day. If there were really anything unusual, you probably would have acted long ago." "Get out." Danzo Shimura was silent for a moment, then stood up and said, soft-heartedness, "Hiruzen, you will regret this." "Danzo, I am the Hokage." Bang! Danzo Shimura slammed the door and left. Only Hiruzen Sarutobi remained in the Hokage office. He looked at Konoha village outside the window, feeling mentally exhausted. At over 60 years old, anyone else would have retired and enjoyed their later years. But because of the cause of the fourth Hokage's death, he couldn't put down the burden. Coupled with the fact that Konoha was in a troubled time, one trouble after another kept coming, leaving him physically and mentally exhausted, and his control over Konoha was not as good as before. Recently, Danzo's ambition for the position of Hokage had also slowly emerged. He even acted on his own initiative, letting a 60-year-old genin participate in the Chunin exams, making Konoha a huge joke in front of other ninja villages. Anyone with a discerning eye could see that the 60-year-old genin already had the strength of a jonin. When he appeared in the exam, other ninja villages thought he was there to snipe them and secretly scolded Konoha for being shameless. As a result, when they saw that they were hitting their own people, they just laughed. The fourth Keisuke Rasa even mocked him, saying, "Konoha's genin are so powerful, I dare not imagine how strong the jonin are." Hiruzen Sarutobi was so ashamed that he wanted to find a hole to crawl into at that moment. Too embarrassing. "Sai." Hiruzen Sarutobi sighed, took out a photo frame, and stared at the yellow-haired man in the photo, lost in thought. "Minato, if you were still here, things wouldn't have developed to this point. The one who should have died back then was me. Big brother Lin Shi, bye-bye." "Bye-bye, Naruto." Watching that yellow-haired kid run away, Lin Shi turned and walked into the courtyard. Uchiha Sasuke was practicing ninjutsu, performing hand seals, and taking a deep breath. Fire release, great fireball technique. Whoosh! A fireball the size of a fist sprayed out from his mouth. Damn it, Uchiha Sasuke felt a bit frustrated. This level was too far from that man. "Sasuke," Lin Shi said, "training is good, but don't practice too late." "I know, brother Lin Shi." Uchiha Sasuke was clearly distracted, probably wondering how to practice to make it bigger. Seeing this, Lin Shi shook his head helplessly. Because he was there, Sasuke's current mental state was much better than in the original work. In the original work, after witnessing his own brother Uchiha Itachi kill the whole clan, Uchiha Sasuke became obsessed. The only goal for living was to kill Uchiha Itachi with his own hands and complete his revenge. For this, he would do anything to gain power, even leaving the village to join Orochimaru and become a rogue ninja. But Sasuke now probably wouldn't make the same choice again. But the desire to breathe fire at Uchiha Itachi was something even he couldn't change. Sai, let him be. Working a little harder is not a bad thing. Lin Shi returned to his room and opened the chat group. Tatsumi had already reached Night Raid and was sending messages in the group. "Tatsumi, at Mr. Lin Shi, I have arrived at Night Raid. I'm doing some clerical work now and also serving as a cook on the side. The salary is very substantial. Tatsumi, Seo and Iyasu are too. The combined salary of the three of us is enough to help the village tide over the crisis. Tatsumi, thank you very much this time. If you hadn't appeared in time, I really wouldn't have known what to do. Tatsumi, if there is anything you need me to do, please don't be polite and just ask. Misaka Mikoto, Misaka Mikoto. Seo and Iyasu, that's the companion you mentioned, right? Misaka Mikoto. Did they really encounter a life-and-death crisis? Tatsumi, yes. Misaka Mikoto. And then that guy named Lin, she appeared in front of you and saved them. Tatsumi, yes. Misaka Mikoto. Misaka Mikoto, I need time to digest this. In the dormitory, Misaka Mikoto was wearing Gekoda pajamas and fell back onto the soft bed. Is this for real? She stared at the messages in the chat group, lost in thought. Although she had expected that what Lin she said might be true. But when it was confirmed, she still had an unrealistic feeling. How to put it? It was like an urban legend in Academy City, like seeing one's own clone or something. Gojo Satoru, hey, that's amazing. Kachu Shinobu, Mr. Gojo, although you say it's amazing, it doesn't seem sincere at all. Gojo Satoru, no, this is from the bottom of my heart. Kachu Shinobu, if it were truly from the heart, you would be very curious to ask about future events. Kachu Shinobu, like this. Kachu Shinobu, Moxie, Mr. Linshi, are you there? Kachu Shinobu, could you please tell me the location of the upper moons of the demons? The map of Yan is a bit long. Lin Shi was amused after reading it and directly exposed her in the group. Lin Shi, you want to know the location of Dauma, right? Hearing the name Dauma, Kachu Shinobu on the other end almost lost control of her expression. Her slender palm clenched tightly. Sure enough, he really knew everything. Even the name of the evil demon who killed my sister. Kachu Shinobu took a deep breath, her expression unprecedentedly serious. Kachu Shinobu, yes, as long as you can tell me the location of Dauma, I can accept any price. Any price? Lin, she couldn't help but picture Kachu Shinobu's petite but curvaceous figure, as well as her cool yet tender face. If he could hold her in his arms and play around, it would surely be a unique experience. If it were Kachu Shinobu, she would definitely be furious inside, but she would still have to keep a smile on her face, pretending to be at ease. Maybe she would even try to retort, but eventually fall defeat under his offensive, her expression losing control, and her sharp words would turn into sweet gasps. Slurp. Lin, she let his imagination run wild, but soon came back to his senses and wiped his mouth with regret. Unfortunately, he didn't know where Dauma was right now. According to the original content, apart from flashbacks, Dauma appeared twice, both in the Infinity Castle. The first time was a meeting of the upper moons, being lectured by the boss, and the second time was the final battle. Before that, Dauma's whereabouts were not mentioned in the original work. He did know the locations of the other few upper moons. He just didn't know how far the plot of Demon Slayer had progressed. Lin Shi replied in the group while thinking. Lin Shi, with your current strength, going to find Dauma is just seeking death. Lin Shi, I don't want to see a group member turn into a corpse the next day. Seeking death, huh? Kachu Shinobu bit her lip. Although she had long known that Dauma was extremely powerful, even her sister, who was the flower pillar, the Hokage of the Demon Slayer world, died at his hands. 4 years had passed, his strength must have improved. But Kachu Shinobu thought, as the current insect pillar, she should have at least a 10-20% chance of winning, right? Maybe 30-40% was not impossible. But Lin Shi's words shattered her fantasy. No, not even a single % chance of winning. Going is just seeking death. Deep anger surged in her heart, casting a shadow over Kachu Shinobu's already sad face. But soon, she adjusted her mood again. Perhaps relying on herself alone wouldn't work, but what if she added other members of the Demon Slayer Corps? No matter how strong Dauma is, can one demon take on a group of pillars? Thinking of this, Kachu Shinobu felt much more relaxed. Looking at the chat group again, she already had a different perspective in her heart. She stood up and walked outside. Lady Shinobu. The girl with twin tails called out to her, "It's so late, where are you going?" "It's AI." Kachu Shinobu smiled. "I have something important to report to the master." Hinata Hyuga. The sun set and rose again, a new day had begun. Uchiha Lin, she stood in the courtyard and stretched as he faced the rising sun. The people from the route didn't come to check the water meter. It seems the Sandame stopped them. Uchiha Lin yawned. He hadn't slept all night, wanting to see if Danzo Shimura would come to cause trouble after he brought Uzumaki Naruto back. For now, everything was peaceful. However, he didn't think Danzo Shimura had let him off the hook. That bastard Danzo Shimura, seeing an Uchiha with the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, probably wished he could plow the ground with missiles, split earthworms in half, and shake every egg until the yolk broke. Could he really be that kind? The only explanation was that Hiruzen Sarutobi had stopped him. In the entire Konoha village, only he could stop Danzo Shimura. This was a good thing. It seemed he wouldn't need to go to other worlds to lie low. Uchiha Lin, she thought to himself. As the main world where he could stay for a lifetime, the plot of the Naruto world was undoubtedly the one he could access the most. If he were afraid of Danzo Shimura and didn't dare to mine this gold mine, he might as well just go bang his head against a block of tofu. Since there were no worries now, he was going to be impolite and start farming popularity points. Farm them hard. Brother Linshi. Uchiha Sasuke walked out of the room, rubbing his eyes. Sasuke, you stayed up late again, didn't you? Uchiha Lin, she noticed his dark circles. Gulp, Uchiha Sasuke felt a bit guilty. You're still growing. You won't grow tall if you keep staying up late, you know. Uchiha Lin, she's words made Uchiha Sasuke lower his head in shame. I'm sorry, Brother Linshi, it won't happen again. Watching the obedient Uchiha Sasuke admit his mistake, Uchiha Lin, she found it quite fresh. In his past life, while watching Naruto, Uchiha Sasuke had always seemed like a cool-acting, Chunibyo teenager in his eyes. Always posing and being cool, only to get beaten up until his own mother wouldn't recognize him. Netizens often joked. The sky cleared, the rain stopped, and Nick Chuzi felt he could do it again. But even so, Nick Chuzi remained stubborn. He was constantly beaten up but never beaten down. He could be called Konoha Village's king of durability. Seeing him lower his head and admit his mistake like this was something only his closest people would ever see. Uchiha Lin, she patted his head, go brush your teeth and wash your face. I'll take you to school after breakfast. Meh. After dropping Uchiha Sasuke off at school, Uchiha Lin, she encountered an unexpected person on his way back. Hyuga Hinata. This eldest daughter of the main branch of the great Konoha village clan was currently being bullied on the road by 3 unknown kids. These eyes of yours are so nauseating. Are you actually a monster? Byakugan monster, hahaha. Byakugan monster. Uchiha Lin, she had black lines all over his head. He could only say that this was typical of a ninja. If anyone in the Hyuga clan had even a shred of political correctness, these 3 sentences would have been enough to stir up a bloodbath in the village. Not to mention, she was the eldest daughter of the main branch. Even if an ordinary child were bullied like this, most people would demand an explanation. Yet the Hyuga clan didn't even make a peep. Is this reasonable? It could only be said that Konoha village was still too loving. If this were the one-piece world of his past life, anyone who dared to treat a celestial dragon's young master like this would have been chopped into mincemeat long ago. Watching Hyuga Hinata crouching on the ground crying, Uchiha Lin, she walked behind the 3 bratty kids. He slowly crouched down, made the hand gesture for the 1,000 years of death, and then one brat, who was about to mock her a bit more, suddenly let out an ouch and flew up, clutching his butt. Then he landed with a thud not far away. Huh. The other 2 brats were stunned and looked at Uchiha Linshi, who was crouching behind them. Hello, you Konoha village brats. I am a naturally kind Uchiha. Uchiha Linshi laughed next. I'm going to use the 1,000 years of death to punish every bad child who bullies others. Are you ready? Waya. The other 2 brats were scared silly and burst into tears. Not only are they not running away, but they are trying to attack me with noise. Interesting. Bangs, bang. 2 more sound effects of human projectiles landing echoed. Where's Mama? An Uchiha bullying the small. You're just too evil, woo-woo-woo. The 3 children ran away crying, clutching their butts. To these brats, Uchiha Linshi clicked his tongue. It's fine when they bully others in a group, but when he bullies them, he's too evil. Typical Konoha village citizens. Uchiha Linshi looked back. Hyuga Hinata was bowing nervously. Thank you, big brother. You're welcome. My name is Uchiha Linshi. Uchiha Linshi smiled gently. Next time you run into such brats, come to the Uchiha compound and find me. Hyuga Hinata lowered her head, twisting her fingers uneasily. I hope I'm not being seen as some weirdo. Why does the atmosphere feel like a creepy uncle seducing a little girl? Uchiha Linshi couldn't help but laugh. To avoid losing popularity points, he quickly turned and left. Sayonara. Goodbye. Hyuga Hinata bowed belatedly. Congratulations on successfully participating in the second act of Naruto, Princess Byakugan, Childhood. First screening popularity points gained, 10,000 plus 0. Estimated weekly popularity points gained, 100. Current evaluation, D. Uchiha Lin, she looked at the panel notification and started the Don't Laugh challenge. Hey. Well, challenge failed. Uchiha Lin, she went straight to Uchiha-style maniacal laughter. As expected, popularity points in the Naruto world are easy to earn. After all, in his past life, Death, Fire, Sea, Bleach, Naruto, One Piece were known as the three giants of anime. Their popularity was evident. I wonder if the next chat group upgrade will allow me to bring people from the Shinigami and One Piece worlds in. If he could participate in the Aizen arc or the Marineford war plot, and then act cool, wouldn't his popularity points skyrocket? Then he could buy whatever he wanted, maybe even become a Super Saiyan, or no, One Punch Man. He could defeat his yesterday's self every day. He didn't know who would be his opponent by the end. Could I really unite all worlds? Uchiha Lin, she stroked his chin and fantasized. It was originally just empty talk for posturing, but now it seemed there might be a chance to realize it. Back home, Uchiha Lin, she sat on a square cushion. Chat group start. I wonder if Tatsumi told Night Raid about the chat group and me yesterday. He thought. It wasn't a bad thing for people from other worlds to know about the chat group. On the contrary, it helped him participate in the plot. For example, Night Raid, after knowing his abilities, would definitely try every means to trade for the information they wanted. This was also the reason why he wanted to establish an omniscient persona. Uchiha Lin, she wanted to use this to earn some extra money. When the time came, he could participate in a plot and get 2 rewards directly. Just thinking about it was delightful. But when he looked at the chat group, he was a bit surprised. Kachu Shinobu, Mr. Linshi, I have a transaction I would like to discuss with you. Kachu Shinobu, I want to know information about the demon on the Infinity Train. Unexpectedly, the first one to tell the organization was Kachu Shinobu. The moment Uchiha Linshi saw it, he knew this was definitely not a transaction Kachu Shinobu would propose on her own. It must have been a probe and verification proposed by that leader after she reported it to the Demon Slayer Corps. This also confirmed the timeline for the Demon Slayer side. It should be shortly before the Mugen Train arc begins. Because the Flame Pillar was already on his way to investigate the Infinity Train, the authenticity of the information could be quickly verified. Uchiha Linshi laughed. It seems I've stumbled upon a good plot. The deal with Shinobu Kocho, minor editing. Demon Slayer, Mugen Train arc. This is probably the most popular arc in Demon Slayer, apart from the final battle. If he could participate, he would surely gain a lot of popularity points. Moreover, the overall power level in the Demon Slayer world is not high. According to Linshi's observation, it's probably 1 tier lower than the Akim Ga Kill world. The top powerhouses in the Demon Slayer world, which are the pillars of the Demon Slayer Corps and the upper moons among the demons, are roughly at Chunin level. A few powerful ones can reach the elite Chunin level. For example, Upper Moon 3 Akaza in the Mugen Train arc belongs to this category. But he has too few methods, only one type of taijutsu. Linshi thought to himself, my taijutsu is similar to his, so we can consider it a draw, but I also have ninjutsu, so I win. Plus, Akaza is isolated and helpless, while he has the Flame Pillar and Insect Pillar as teammates, so it's a multi-on-one fight, another win. In summary, the advantage is mine. He is determined to succeed in this mission. Lin Shi, okay, but what are you offering in exchange? Shinobu Kocho, what do you want? What do I want? Lin Shi thought of Shinobu Kocho's graceful figure again, and the corners of his mouth unconsciously curved upwards. He lightly coughed twice, clearing his mind of distracting thoughts. It wasn't that he didn't want it, but he remembered that the information about the Infinity Train arc could actually be divided into two parts. The first is Enmu, the nightmare demon who killed more than 40 people on the Infinity Train. This demon is the mission target of the Demon Slayer Corps and the subject of Shinobu Kocho's trade. As for the appearance of Upper Moon 3, it was purely accidental. Who would have thought that this demon would wander around for no reason and just happen to run into the Flame Pillar who was on a mission? The information on Upper Moon 3 is significant, so I can exchange it for something good. As for the Nightmare Demon, what should I exchange for? After much thought, she felt that only breathing techniques were suitable. After all, he didn't lack food or drink now. The only thing he needed to do was become stronger. But there were too few ways to improve combat power in the Demon Slayer world. The high-end ones were either useless to him or had superior alternatives in the Hokage world. Compared to them, the most basic breathing techniques were the most useful. Breathe, get stronger, that's it. It's all about being simple and unpretentious. Indeed, the most basic things are the least likely to become outdated. Lin Shi sighed. He looked at the chat group again. Lin Shi, I want breathing techniques. Shinobu Kocho, no problem, which one do you want? Lin Shi, I want them all. Shinobu Kocho, how can this person be so shameless? In the Yubayashiki estate, Shinobu Kocho was stunned as she looked at the content in the chat group. She had actually guessed that the other party might ask for breathing techniques, as they were the foundation of the Demon Slayer Corps, and their value was immeasurable. But she didn't expect the other party to have such a big appetite, asking for all of them. This made Shinobu Kocho hesitate about her original intention to trade. It wasn't that she was reluctant to part with them, but she was worried about what she would use for future trades if she gave all the breathing techniques now. Kocho, what are you thinking about? Hearing the call, Kocho looked up at the man sitting in the shadows of the room. His face was pale, the upper half of his face was grotesque and purplish, but his eyes were incredibly gentle, and a faint smile hung on his lips. It was none other than the current leader of the Demon Slayer Corps, Kaguya Yubayashiki. Master Yubayashiki. Shinobu Kocho expressed her concerns. That person asked for all the breathing techniques. I'm afraid if I give them to him this time, it will be difficult to pay the price for future trades. It doesn't matter, the master said with a smile. As long as it benefits demon slaying, what does it matter if we give our all? He said it, but his heart was cold, and he couldn't help but sigh. Kocho, has she finally gone mad? He had long seen that this seemingly gentle insect pillar was actually incredibly angry deep down. She had just been suppressing her anger, living as her sister did before her death. Perhaps it was because she didn't want to forget her deceased sister. The starting point was good, but suppressing oneself like this, without venting for a long time. Over time, there would definitely be psychological problems. The result was as he expected. Early this morning, someone reported that Shinobu Kocho had something important to discuss. As soon as they met, she told him a lot of incoherent things, such as a chat group, other worlds, knowing everything, and so on. It made one's head spin just listening. But it didn't prevent him from understanding one thing. Shinobu Kocho had gone mad. She had gone mad with the desire to kill demons, actually fantasizing about someone who knew everything coming to help them kill demons. How could that be possible? But since things had come to this, the master could only go along with Shinobu Kocho's words. While trying not to agitate her, he would see if there was any possibility of curing her. Hinaki, go get the breathing technique rubbings. The master said to the white-haired girl beside him. The latter got up and left, returning quickly with a book in her hand. Kocho, take it. Master Yubayashiki. Since the master had spoken, Shinobu Kocho couldn't say anything more. She just took the book and stood quietly in place. Shinobu Kocho, okay, but many breathing techniques are in diagram form, and expressing them in text might not be accurate. Shinobu Kocho, so, Mr. Lin Shi, are you coming to get them? Lin Shi, wait a moment, I'll send a trade offer. Shinobu Kocho didn't understand Lin Shi's meaning, but soon, she saw a new window pop up on her panel. Lin Shi has initiated a trade request with you. Do you agree? It can do that. Shinobu Kocho was a bit surprised. The chat group actually had such a function, how come she hadn't seen it? However, thinking that the other party was the group owner of the chat group, it seemed normal for him to have some permissions that they didn't. Shinobu Kocho calmed down and silently thought, agree. Please select the content you wish to trade. What to do next? Shinobu Kocho looked at the breathing technique rubbings in her hand and tentatively said, select. The next second, the rubbings in her hand disappeared. The text in the trade window also changed. Shinobu Kocho's trade content, breathing technique rubbings. Lin Shi's trade content, information on the Infinity Train Killer Demon. Do both parties agree to the trade? A long silence fell over the courtyard. Due to his blindness, the master did not see the scene of the rubbings disappearing from Shinobu Kocho's hand. But his two daughters beside him clearly saw it, their pupils slightly contracting. This emotional change was keenly perceived by the master. Hinaki, Nishika, what happened? Before the two could answer, Shinobu Kocho suddenly said, the demon on the Infinity Train is named Enmo, the lower moon, one of the 12 demon moons. His blood demon art is to make people enter dreams. Shinobu Kocho spoke a great deal, from background to abilities to appearance, in meticulous detail, as if such a demon truly existed. The master listened, surprised and uncertain for a moment. What's going on? What is Shinobu Kocho saying? Information about a demon. But how did she know such detailed information? Could it be that she wasn't mad, and everything she said was true? Is there really someone who knows everything and can trade demon information with him? The master's eyes widened, and his breathing became slightly hurried. As the master of the Demon Slayer Corps, he understood too well the importance of information to the Demon Slayer Corps. All along, the Demon Slayer Corps had repeatedly suffered setbacks in its demon-slaying activities. Despite having several times the number of personnel compared to demons, there was always a shortage of manpower. It was all due to one reason: blocked information. Due to the era, the communication technology of the Demon Slayer Corps was not that advanced. Even with Kasugai crows relaying information, there was still a significant delay. This led to situations where demon slayers would receive a report, rush over in a hurry, only to find nothing. The above situation was not an isolated case. Instead, it was a situation that most demon slayers, and even the pillars, would encounter. All along, the Demon Slayer Corps could only adopt the most clumsy method, assigning members to guard various regions. However, ordinary members were basically powerless against demons, so manpower often had to be dispatched from other places. But this, in turn, would lead to vulnerabilities in the defense of the original garrisons, essentially robbing Peter to pay Paul. This is also why the Demon Slayer Corps has always been short on manpower. If what Shinobu Kocho said was true, then the Demon Slayer Corps would never again encounter similar situations in the future. Directly obtaining demon information, then ambushing in advance, fighting with superior numbers, and pinpointing and encircling them to kill. The advantage of the Demon Slayer Corps' large numbers would be fully utilized. Even killing upper moons, and Musen would no longer be a fantasy. Thinking of this, the master clenched his fists slightly, his heart rate involuntarily quickening. But soon, he took a deep breath and secretly thought, no, not necessarily. It's also possible she's talking nonsense. Let's wait a little longer. Only when Kyojiro's message returns can we draw a conclusion. Although he thought this, his mood remained unsettled for a long time, and his palms were slightly sweaty. Just as he was about to continue asking Shinobu Kocho about the chat group, he suddenly noticed that Shinobu Kocho in the courtyard seemed to be in a slightly off mood. She felt angrier than usual. What happened? The master naturally thought of the chat group she mentioned, guessing that something said in it might have angered her. But what exactly it was, he had no way of knowing. However, his intuition told him that it was best not to disturb her at this moment. So the master sat in silence, waiting for Shinobu Kocho to continue. Meanwhile, Shinobu Kocho, standing under the sun, felt like she was about to burn up. Her face was full of smiles, but prominent veins bulged on her forehead. Her gaze was fixed directly on the chat group in front of her. Linshi, I want the right to use your body for one day. Transaction successful. Why was Kachu Shinobu so angry, and why did Mr. Linshi suddenly say something lewd? Let's rewind a few minutes. Just as the master was immersed in his fantasies, the conversation in the chat group had not yet ended. After Kachu Shinobu finished stating the information obtained from the transaction, she had originally intended to wait for the master to digest it before making plans. But she suddenly saw Mr. Linshi tagging her in the chat group. Mr. Linshi, at Kachu Shinobu, I just saw another interesting piece of intel that you will definitely be interested in. Mr. Linshi, want to trade? Kachu Shinobu, may I ask, what aspect does this information concern? Mr. Linshi, an upper moon from the 12 Kazuki. Upper moon. Kachu Shinobu's pupils constricted slightly. As a pillar of the Demon Slayer Corps, she understood the terror of the upper moons all too well. Every upper moon, demon possessed the power to easily kill a pillar. Usually, it took the combined strength of two pillars to barely manage to behead one. A lone pillar encountering an upper moon meant certain death. That was how her sister had died as well. However, the problem was that, as the elite force of the Demon Slayer Corps, the pillars often had to rush to various locations to put out fires, and rarely appeared in teams. The locations of the upper moons were also erratic and hard to track. Encountering one was basically a matter of luck. Therefore, the Demon Slayer Corps hadn't had a record of killing an upper moon in over 100 years. Kachu Shinobu was keenly aware of the importance of the intelligence Mr. Linshi spoke of. If she could know the location of an upper moon in advance, she could assemble multiple pillars to surround and kill it. This wasn't just as simple as the possibility of killing an upper moon. It was a golden opportunity to boost morale and sweep away the gloom hanging over the Demon Slayer Corps. Trade she must trade. No matter the cost, she had to trade. Kachu Shinobu, very well, Mr. Linshi, may I ask what you want? Mr. Linshi, I want the right to use your body for one day. Kachu Shinobu read it carefully twice, and after confirming she hadn't misread it, she smiled slightly. This was already her subconscious reaction when angry. If one didn't look closely at the veins bulging on her forehead, one wouldn't be able to tell she was actually furious. I didn't expect Mr. Linshi to be this kind of person, Kachu Shinobu said with a subtle expression. As the insect pillar of the Demon Slayer Corps, possessing both beauty and strength, she didn't lack admirers. There had even been quite a few who confessed to her, but she had rejected them all. Since her sister's death, only revenge remained in her heart, and for that, she had prepared herself to die. Love and romance in her eyes were merely burdens. Kachu Shinobu had thought that she wouldn't have any man until her death, but she hadn't expected the unexpected. However, she still decided to trade. Compared to the countless people who had sacrificed their lives, using only her purity to exchange for a chance to kill an upper moon was a very small price to pay. Kachu Shinobu was silent for a moment, then sighed softly. It really does make one feel a bit unpleasant. Just then, other members lurking in the chat group began to bubble up. Misaka Mikoto, what are you saying, you guy? Misaka Mikoto, to actually dare to sexually harass a girl, unforgivable. Misaka Mikoto, I really have to control you properly. Discharge, JPG. Tatsumi, Mr. Linshi, could it be that I have to? Terrified, JPG. Gojo Satoru, hey, what's the situation? Aren't we a gay dating group? Tatsumi, Mr. Gojo, scared, JPG. Mr. Linshi, what are you all talking about? Mr. Linshi, I just wanted to study the body structure of humans from other worlds. Misaka Mikoto, really, why do I feel like you're lying to me? Mr. Linshi, why would I lie to you? I love telling the truth. Misaka Makoto, don't you know everything? Why do you still need to? Mr. Linshi, do you use a railgun every time you swat a mosquito? Mr. Linshi, besides, for research, just knowing isn't enough. Don't you understand the principle that practice yields true knowledge? Mr. Linshi, speechless, typical condescending mindset. In the dormitory, Misaka Makoto watched the chat group, her teeth itching with anger. She wished she could bite Mr. Linshi to death. This guy did it on purpose, right? It must be on purpose. Speaking in that tone, anyone who saw it would misunderstand, right? But the situation was unfavorable to her now, and if she continued, she might be counterattacked. So Misaka Makoto very wisely lurked and played dead. Idiot, she huffed and closed the chat group. One-sama, it's almost time for the appointment, shouted the pink-haired twin tails at the door. Coming. Misaka Makoto rolled out of bed and hurriedly left the dormitory. Meanwhile, Kocho Shinobu on the other side was slightly stunned looking at the chat group. So, did I misunderstand? She let out a sigh of relief and replied in the chat group. Kocho Shinobu, Mr. Linshi, I have a question. Will the research cause any damage to my body? Kocho Shinobu, because I still have to carry out demon-slaying activities, it would be terrible if I were missing arms or legs. Mr. Linshi, it won't. Kocho Shinobu, then I am relieved. Please feel free to take this body and use it. Smile, JPG. Tatsumi, my body can also be used freely. Mr. Linshi. Mr. Linshi, you'd better not. Tatsumi, why? Greatly shocked, JPG. Kocho Shinobu couldn't help but chuckle at the messages in the chat group. Soon, a new transaction window popped up. This time, it only required a promise from her. Only a verbal promise. There's absolutely no guarantee. Kocho Shinobu thought, if she broke the promise, would she not suffer any punishment? This thought only appeared for a moment, before it was immediately dispelled. She shook her head, better not. It was precisely because there was no guarantee that it felt terrifying. That person didn't seem worried about the debt not being collected at all. The transaction was completed, and a lot of new information appeared before Kocho Shinobu's eyes. Upper Moon 3, Akaza. The blood demon art is a deployed cursed technique. It can perceive the opponent's fighting spirit and see through the opponent's attacks. Kocho Shinobu frowned secretly. In her view, this ability belonged to a very tricky type. Unless her raw strength far exceeded the opponent's, it would be difficult to cause damage. The upper moons, indeed, none were simple. Current location. Kocho Shinobu continued to look at the next paragraph, her pupils shrinking. Infinity train. She couldn't help but exclaim out loud, startling the master. Kocho, what's wrong? He was seeing Kocho Shinobu act so out of character for the first time. It's bad, master. Kocho Shinobu didn't have the energy to care about the previous discourtesy, and hurriedly told him the information she had obtained. The master fell silent after listening, his heart churning. He hadn't expected that only a few minutes had passed, and he had already heard such heavy news. Upper Moon 3 is on the Infinity Train, then Kyoujuru. The master's palms were sweating. He was under great pressure. If he sent several pillars to support, only to find out it was fake, then it would be equivalent to wasting manpower. At that time, who knew how many innocent people would die miserably at the hands of demons? But if he chose to ignore it, and it turned out to be true, the Demon Slayer Corps would lose a pillar and the opportunity to kill an upper moon. The pros and cons were obvious at a glance. The master took a deep breath. Kocho, go support immediately, and also. Hinai, who was beside him, said, the water pillar is still free. Have Jiwoo go together. The master said decisively. Send word to the other pillars as well. If anyone is free, rush to the Infinity Train immediately. Either don't do it, or do it to the best of one's ability. Since he chose to believe, he would treat it as real and must pin Upper Moon 3 down on the Infinity Train. I will fulfill my responsibilities. In the Demon Slayer world, in a forest. 2 people wearing Haoris were moving at high speed. One of them had an agile figure, like a dancing butterfly, leaping from branch to branch. The other was running hard on the ground. They were none other than Kocho Shinobu and Jiu Tomioka, who had received orders. As Jiu Tomioka ran, he glanced at Kachu Shinobu frequently, until he finally couldn't help but ask, "Kachu, are you sick?" Kachu Shinobu's steps on the branch faltered, and she smiled. "Mr. Tomioka, are you looking for trouble?" Jiu Tomioka didn't understand why his expression of concern received such a reaction. He had seen in the master's letter that Kachu Shinobu actually claimed to have some kind of chat group, and that she could trade with someone who knew everything. So he was wondering if she was under too much pressure, causing her to fall ill. He thought he would show some concern, but the other party didn't seem to appreciate it. Sure enough, someone like him wasn't worthy of standing alongside a Hashira. Thinking this, Jiu Tomioka accelerated, widening the distance between himself and Kachu Shinobu. Kachu Shinobu watched Jiu Tomioka running ahead of her, slightly stunned. Is this a provocation? She suddenly exerted force, dashing ahead in 2 steps. "Mr. Tomioka, you always do strange things without saying a word." Kachu Shinobu smiled helplessly. "That's exactly why everyone dislikes you." Jiu Tomioka's steps faltered for a moment, but he quickly caught up, his expression devoid of joy or sorrow. "I am not disliked." "Ah, sorry," Kachu Shinobu said, appearing apologetic. "It seems you aren't aware that you are disliked. I said something unnecessary. I'm truly sorry. Since the situation is urgent, I won't stay here and play racing games with Mr. Tomioka. I'll be going ahead. Goodbye." With that, Kachu Shinobu accelerated again, leaving Jiu Tomioka far behind. In the Naruto world, Linshi sat on a swing, yawning. He was waiting for Uchiha Sasuke to finish school, and incidentally seeing if there was a chance to trigger a plot event. Speaking of which, Kachu Shinobu is so slow over there. Has she not reached the Infinity Train yet? Linshi thought. It had been several days since Kachu Shinobu received the intelligence and headed to the Infinity Train. According to her, the flame pillar had set off a day earlier than her, so he should have been able to make it. As for why there was still no news, the reason was probably just that the people in the Demon Slayer world were too slow. What kind of breathing style is that? It's just brute strength. Thinking of the theories from his past life, she couldn't help but tease. He had also been researching breathing style these past few days, and it wasn't difficult. It was mainly about regulating breathing to strengthen cardiopulmonary function, thereby achieving the effect of enhancing physical stamina. Then, it was combined with a few sword techniques, but there were no flashy special effects. Those seen in the anime were all fake. She could use chakra to achieve similar effects, but it wasn't practical. It was useless except for looking cool, and it wasted chakra. It was only good for bullying weaklings. It wouldn't work against someone on the same level. Big brother Linshi. A call came from not far away. She looked over and saw Uchiha Sasuke running toward him, with Uzumaki Naruto following beside him. Big brother Linshi, Uzumaki Naruto greeted. "Sasuke, Naruto." Linshi smiled and patted both their heads. During this time, he invited Uzumaki Naruto to his home for dinner every day, and they had become quite familiar with each other. Big brother Linshi. Uzumaki Naruto suddenly took out a frog wallet and patted his chest, saying, "I've been mooching meals at your place for a while now. Today, let me treat you and Sasuke to a meal." "Sure." She didn't stand on ceremony. He knew the third Hokage regularly gave Naruto money, so he wouldn't be short of a meal. "What do you say, Sasuke?" "I have no objection," Uchiha Sasuke said. "Yash, then let's go. I know a really delicious ramen shop," Uzumaki Naruto said excitedly. "You mean Ikaraku ramen, right?" She smiled. Uzumaki Naruto nodded. Does big brother She also know about Ikaraku ramen? Otsutsuki Ikaraku, who doesn't know him? She muttered to himself, his expression unchanged. "I used to go there to eat. It tastes pretty good." Seeing that she also liked Ikaraku ramen, Uzumaki Naruto was very happy. It felt like something he liked had been validated. The three arrived at the ramen shop. She lifted the curtain and saw an unexpected figure. Kakashi Headache. He was actually here. Was it a coincidence? She hadn't expected to run into the future teacher of Naruto and Sasuke here. He remembered that in the original work, the three met for the first time on the day they graduated from the Ninja Academy and formed Team 7. That was still 4 or 5 years away. At this moment, Kakashi Hatake also hadn't expected to meet his mentor's disciple here. When he saw that iconic blonde hair, he inevitably felt a moment of trance. He immediately lowered his head, finished the last bite of noodles, paid the bill, and left. "Wait, you haven't taken your change," Uncle Ikaraku shouted. But Kakashi Hatake had already walked far away and couldn't hear him at all. Or rather, even if he heard, he wouldn't turn back. In his current state, he had no face to see his mentor's son. "What a strange uncle," Uzumaki Naruto said, scratching his head. Uchiha Sasuke recalled the man's attire, with one eye covered, wondering what he was thinking. "Let's sit down and eat." She smoothed things over. It seemed Kakashi was still in the Anbu. Perhaps he didn't want his cold-blooded appearance to scare Naruto. Speaking of the Anbu, he was being monitored by the Anbu all day long now, and it was truly an unpleasant feeling. Was there any way to get rid of this surveillance? Various figures flashed through Shi's mind. "Here you go, your tonkatsu ramen." A bowl of fragrant ramen was placed in front of him. Whoa, it looked so delicious. Uzumaki Naruto was drooling with hunger. He picked up his chopsticks. "Let's eat." Watching Naruto eat with such relish, Shi's own stomach couldn't help but rumble. Here, Uchiha Sasuke handed over a pair of chopsticks. "Thanks," Shi smiled and took them. "Forget it, let's eat first." Meanwhile, in the Demon Slayer world, beside a derailed train, a great battle was silently taking place. Two figures collided at high speed, streaks of afterimages flashing by, kicking up clouds of dust and sand. Bang! Another collision, and one of them was sent flying. "Mr. Rengoku," the red-haired boy shouted. Kyojiro Rengoku braked with his feet, sliding a long distance before stopping, covered in blood and panting. "Who?" He gasped for air, his eyes fixed firmly ahead. The smoke gradually dissipated, and a pale-skinned figure appeared. His eyes were golden, and his body was covered in blue stripes. It was Upper Moon 3, Akaza. He was gently stroking the wound on his chest, the gruesome bloody gash slowly healing as his fingers passed over it. "With your talent, you shouldn't be trapped in a human shell, gradually aging." Akaza smiled coldly, "So become a demon, Kyojiro. Then fight to your heart's content with me, and we will improve together. You have the qualifications. Kill the weaklings over there, and let us reach a higher realm together." Kyojiro Rengoku suddenly smiled. He flared his fighting spirit, which condensed into something tangible. It was as if a raging flame had ignited upon his body. He took his stance, his voice booming, "I will fulfill my duty. Everyone here, not a single person will die. Akaza, do you want to dance too? Flame-breathing, esoteric art." Just as Kyojiro Rengoku was about to burn himself out, a whooshing sound suddenly echoed from the forest to the south. A figure flew over rapidly, drawing a sword from its sheath and slashing towards Akaza's nape. Another master. Akaza's face was filled with excitement. He twisted his waist and threw a heavy punch. The collision between sword and fist, the result was self-evident. Akaza's arm was severed in the middle, but it also completely blocked the momentum of the sword. Just as he was about to speak, a cold light flashed, and another Nichiren blade pierced out, striking his neck. Splat! Akaza was stunned, then burst into laughter. He spun forcefully like a top, flinging both of them away. Shinobu Kocho lightly flipped in the air, doing 2 turns to dissipate the force and stopping beside Kyojiro Rengoku. "Mr. Rengoku, I'm sorry we're late." Shinobu Kocho frowned, looking at Kyojiro Rengoku. "You're really badly injured." If they had arrived any later, Kyojiro Rengoku might have died here. Kyojiro Rengoku also didn't expect the two of them to suddenly appear. "Why are you here?" "That's a long story. Let's deal with the enemy in front of us first." Shinobu Kocho looked at Akaza in front of them. The wounds inflicted by their surprise attack had completely healed by now. "Poison, not enough dosage," Shinobu Kocho sighed. If she had been stronger, she could have tried to cut off Akaza's head just now, instead of resorting to poison. That's true, Kyojiro Rengoku laughed heartily. Be careful, this guy is very strong. All three of your fighting spirits are very strong. I'm starting to get excited. Akaza squatted in a horse stance, pulled one fist to his waist, and pushed out with the other palm. You, too, come and become demons. Linshi, at all members, come out and show yourselves. Gojo Satoru, showing myself. Tatsumi, +1. Misaka Mikoto, shopping, do not disturb. Linshi, at Shinobu Kocho, where are you? Come out and do the active mission. Tatsumi, I remember Miss Kocho went to kill demons. Has she arrived yet? Linshi, possibly. At the Uchiha residence, Linshi sat on a square cushion, looking at the panel in front of him. World travel, activate. Currently traveling to the Demon Slayer world. Current world time has entered a suspended state. Wish you a pleasant journey. The next second, Linshi appeared in a wilderness. The night was deep, and in the smoke not far away, cold lights of different colors flickered from time to time. Looks like the fight has already started. Linshi looked to the other side, where a red-haired boy with a hideous scar on his forehead was lying. It was Tanjiro Kamado, the protagonist of Demon Slayer. Beside him stood a boy wearing a wild boar mask. Linshi walked over. Tanjiro, lend me your sword. Where did you come from, you guy? The pig-head boy exclaimed in fright. Eh? Tanjiro Kamado also looked up in surprise. No, who are you? A passing ninja. She picked up the black sword from the ground. I'm talking to you, did you hear me? Said the pig-head boy. Ninja, could it be that you're a fellow countryman of Mr. Sound Hashira? Tanjiro Kamado asked. Something like that. Hey, bastard, don't ignore me. The pig-head boy couldn't bear it anymore. So noisy, she tilted his head to the other side. At this moment, from the smoke of the intense battle between three people and one demon, a figure suddenly flew backward, smashing straight into the train. Miss Kocho, Tanjiro Kamado shouted. Roar, boar rush. The pig-head boy ran with all his might, but it was clearly too late. So he pushed off with his legs, making a big leap, ready to use himself as a cushion. Suddenly, a black shadow flashed past him. So fast, the pig-head boy's pupils contracted slightly. Linshi steadily caught Shinobu Kocho in midair and landed on the ground. Before Shinobu Kocho could react, she saw a familiar figure in front of her fall to the ground and slide several meters forward. Shinobu Kocho looked at Inosuke surfing on the ground, really wanting to make a sarcastic remark or two. But she immediately realized there were more important matters at hand and looked up at the handsome face, tentatively asking, Mr. Linshi. It's me. Why is Mr. Linshi here? If I didn't come, and you died here, who would I ask for the intelligence reward? I see, Shinobu Kocho landed on the ground. Then please wait a moment. After I fulfill my duty of slaying demons, I will pay you the reward. Linshi glanced at her, then walked towards Akaza, sword in hand. Is Mr. Linshi going to help me slay demons? How embarrassing. Shinobu Kocho feigned surprise, as expected of Mr. Linshi, so gentle, so considerate. Stop lying, you didn't sound embarrassed at all just now. You were clearly saying I'm going to die, so if you want the reward, come help me kill demons. Linshi grumbled inwardly, not exposing Shinobu Kocho's little scheme. Firstly, participating in the plot and slaying Akaza was his goal anyway. Secondly, he had also lied to Shinobu Kocho. All the research talk was fake, he just purely desired Shinobu Kocho's body. Now being used by Shinobu Kocho, it was a draw. The slight shame and embarrassment in she's heart completely vanished. On the other side, Akaza sensed a powerful fighting spirit and immediately went all out, sending Kyojiro Rengoku and Jiyu Tomioka flying. He looked at she walking towards him from not far away, his face full of excitement. Such astonishing fighting spirit, are you a Hashira too? I say, why don't you join us and become a demon? Don't be a human. Thunder breathing, first form. Linshi bent down and drew his sword, thunderclap and flash. Ziza. A blue-white electric current burst in the air. Before anyone could react to what happened, Linshi had already appeared behind Akaza. A pale head flew into the sky, and the tattooed body knelt on the ground. He succeeded. Tanjiro Kamato's mouth fell open. That was an upper-rank demon that even 3 Hashira couldn't defeat together. Mr. Sound Hashira's fellow countryman is so amazing. What exquisite swordsmanship. Kyojiro Rengoku laughed loudly. Though I don't know who he is, such power is already no less than the stone Hashira. A trace of surprise flashed in Jiyu Tomioka's eyes, but he quickly returned to his calm demeanor, sheathing his sword. Mr. Linshi, Shinobu Kocho's face also rarely showed seriousness, so strong. Among everyone present, the one who could most perceive Linshi's power was undoubtedly Akaza, who had directly faced that strike. At this moment, the world in his eyes was turned upside down. So fast. Akaza's eyes widened. I clearly sensed his fighting spirit. I clearly knew the direction of his attack, but it was still too late. Is this a speed a human can achieve? How can there be such an amazing person? Am I going to die? Die here, in such a simple way? A fierce surge of unwillingness welled up in Akaza's heart, and his expression became distorted. What a joke. I haven't even fought to my heart's content yet. How can I fall here? I want to stand up. I want to stand up. I want to fight again. Kaila. Under the powerful will to survive and conviction, something that made the Hashira's eyes widen happened. Akaza's headless body was actually regenerating in an abnormal way, defying all common sense. How is that possible? This time, even Jiyu Tomioka could no longer remain calm, and an astonished expression appeared on his face. Only Linshi remained calm. Akaza, do you want to dance too? Let's go to a hot spring together. Demons die when their heads are cut off by a Nichiren blade. This is common knowledge in the world of the Hashira. But now, this common knowledge was being shattered right before their eyes. The headless corpse, which had just been on the verge of dissipating, instantly grew half a new head. It continued to grow at a speed visible to the naked eye, and already, Akaza's face had been mostly restored. Kachu Shinobu broke into a cold sweat. A demon, actually capable of overcoming the weakness of being decapitated. Though she was unwilling to believe it, the truth was right before her eyes. She wondered how many demons had overcome this weakness, and if the demon that killed her sister was the same. If that were the case, how could she ever take her revenge? How could the Demon Slayer Corps continue to fight against these monsters? Kyojiro Rengoku took up his stance again. Don't just stand there, do what must be done. Jiyu Tomioka also gripped his sword hilt again, water breathing. I'll help too. Tanjiro Kamato forced himself to stand up, only to realize his hands were empty. I forgot my sword is still in that person's hands. She walked behind Akaza and cut off the head that had just grown back. Regenerate, cut, regenerate, cut. Akaza seemed unable to take it anymore. His headless body turned to attack, but was tripped by Linshi and heavily stomped underfoot. Then came the full package, chopping off hands, feet, and head. She had long known that Akaza could overcome the weakness of decapitation. This was recorded in the original work. So, from the very beginning, he had no intention of relying on decapitation to kill Akaza. He just needed to wear him down until dawn. Surely you haven't overcome the weakness of the sun, too. Over there, the others, who had expected another bitter battle, watched this absurd scene with heads full of question marks. Just like that, they'd hung up and beaten Upper Moon 3. Ilha Tahase. Kyojiro Rengoku laughed heartily and sat down on the ground with a thud. I'm afraid even Stone Hashira-sama couldn't achieve this level. This person's ferocity far exceeds any of the Hashira. Kachu, you all seem quite familiar with each other. Did you invite him? Kachu Shinobu explained the chat group and the trades again, though she hid the part about trading the right to use her body. So Mr. Linshi isn't from Sound Hashira-sama's hometown. Tanjiro Kamato said in surprise, I was tricked. But he hadn't smelled any scent of lying on the other person. What was going on? Kyojiro Rengoku clicked his tongue in wonder. How interesting. The world is vast and full of wonders. What do you mean by other worlds? Is it a very far place? The pig-head boy asked. It's not like that, Inasuk. Tanjiro Kamato went to the side to explain to him, it's like this and like that. Oh, the pighead boy seemed to half understand. Kachu, Jiu Tomioka's reaction was quite flat, so you weren't sick. Tanjiro Kamado. Ah no, Miss Shinobu, Tomioka-san didn't mean it like that. He hurriedly tried to explain that Jiu Tomioka had no malice, and that he likely meant it was great that she wasn't sick. But it seemed to be too late. Kachu Shinobu said with a smile, Tomioka-san, you've been provoking me ever since you arrived. Are you looking for a fair and square samurai duel with me? Jiu Tomioka was confused. The sun is about to rise. Linshi glanced at the pale eastern sky and immediately looked down. Akaza, hurry up and say you want to become human, otherwise you'll die. Akaza, whose chin had just been chopped off as soon as it regenerated, slowly formed a question mark. If you want me to speak, at least let me regenerate my mouth. Clang! Suddenly, the sound of a biwa rang out, and a skylight opened behind Akaza with a clatter. Akaza's headless body fell into it, while Linshi jumped back to dodge. Muzan has come to fish him out, Linshi thought to himself. It seemed there was no way to slay Akaza here. But it didn't matter. With Akaza's strength, he no longer posed any threat to him. If saved for the final decisive battle in the Infinity Castle, he could fight him again and farm a wave of popularity points. So this is breathing style. Linshi clenched his fist. Before, he might have had to struggle to fight Akaza. But after practicing breathing style, he could already beat Akaza with ease. In the last few days of practice, he had successfully mastered the 5 basic breathing styles: wind, thunder, flame, water, and stone. His strength had also risen to the limit of an elite Chunin. According to Xianxia novel terminology, he was now at the great perfection of elite Chunin, half a step to Jonin. And Akaza was barely at the early stage of elite Chunin. There was an uncrossable chasm between the two. Although the improvement isn't much, the difficulty of practice is very low, making it quite cost-effective. Linshi turned and walked toward the group, who were still dazed by Akaza being rescued. Mr. Linshi, Kachu Shinobu asked subconsciously, just now, what was that? She felt that today, so many things were challenging her worldview. First there was Linshi who traveled here, then Akaza overcoming decapitation, and then the door that suddenly appeared, leading to, who knows where. The Infinity Castle. It wasn't important information, so Linshi said it directly. That is the demon's base camp. The demon's base camp, Kachu Shinobu's pupils constricted. So that was Muzan's stronghold. Would the demon that killed her sister also be there? Linshi tossed the black sword to Tanjiro Kamado. Just finished the fight, I'm covered in sweat. Let's all go soak in the hot spring together. Soak in the hot spring. Everyone was stunned, not expecting the topic to jump so suddenly. Good idea, only Kyojiro Rengoku agreed loudly. Indeed, after exercise, one must take a bath and eat delicious food. Rengoku-san, given your current physical condition, it would be better not to take a bath. Kachu Shinobu gave her professional advice as a pharmacist. Tanjiro Kamado grabbed Jiu Tomioka, who had wanted to leave. The pighead boy was furiously trying to find him to fight, and another blonde boy carrying a wooden box walked out of the train. Watching these scenes from his past life's anime, she felt a subtle mix of emotions. He never expected that one day he would actually become one of them. How should he put it? It felt pretty good. She curled his lips slightly and followed the group toward the dawn. Say, Mr. Linshi. Kachu Shinobu looked at Linshi, who had followed her into the women's bath changing room, and asked with a smile. What is the meaning of this? As I said before, research. Linshi said calmly, since we need to strip off our clothes, I was thinking it might be better to do it in the hot spring. If you have any objections, we can do it in the room later. Should I thank you for your consideration? Kachu Shinobu lowered her head, her mood complex. No, let's do it here. Then I'm going in now, Linshi said with no ripples of emotion. Kachu Shinobu stood in the empty changing room, taking deep breaths. She never thought that one day she would be bathing with a man. Could it be that Mr. Lin, she deliberately suggested going to the hot spring? Kachu Shinobu thought of she's indifferent expression, and shook her head. No, probably not. Mr. Linshi, although he looks like a human, is actually a humanoid creature, right? Just like a demon. After all, she had never heard of humans who could actually release lightning or anything from their bodies. Thinking of the electric current brought by that blade's flash of lightning, she thought to herself, can people from Mr. Lin Shi's world all do this? Then from Mr. Lin Shi's perspective, perhaps we are the humanoid creatures. Just like how I look at those bugs, Mr. Lin Shi probably looks at me the same way, right? Kocho Shinobu thought this and felt much better, but a faint anger rose within her. No, we are not humanoid creatures. It's just that the people from Mr. Lin Shi's world are too monstrous. Yeah, monsters. Kocho Shinobu exhaled softly, her clothes slipping down to her ankles, revealing her fair and toned calves. Then her tender feet, like mutton-fat jade, stepped lightly on the floor as she walked toward the hot spring. It's just being watched by a bear. It's no big deal. Kocho Shinobu thought this to herself, then lifted the curtain. She saw a figure soaking in the hot spring amidst the rising steam, leaning against the edge of the stone. Upon seeing her, there was not a ripple of change in his eyes. He remained calm. Phew, as expected. Kocho Shinobu sighed in relief, thinking to herself, bears don't have desires for people. Lin Shi looked at Kocho Shinobu, who came in wrapped in a bath towel, a breath stuck in his chest, almost causing him internal injury from holding it in. No, can't laugh yet. Wait another 60 seconds. After 60 seconds, I will declare my victory. Shinobu Kocho's hot spring. In the misty hot spring, only the splashing of water could be heard. A silent atmosphere permeated the air. After a long while, Kocho finally moved. She walked to the edge of the hot spring, slowly crouched down, and dipped her fair, small feet into the water, seemingly testing the temperature. Then she gradually submerged her body into the water. Her movements were natural, without splashing a single drop, creating only ripples. Say, Miss Kocho. Huh, what is it, Mr. Lin Shi? Lin Shi looked at the woman 10 meters away. You're sitting so far away. May I ask how I'm supposed to start the research? With my eyes. Is that not okay? Kocho asked regretfully. What do you think? Lin Shi shot her an annoyed glance. The latter slowly inched her body over, but halfway there she said, Mr. Lin Shi. Men who only let the girl make the first move aren't popular, you know. Kocho chuckled. Her eyebrows were slightly furrowed, but the corners of her mouth were upturned, giving her the expression of an older sister who was thinking, I really can't do anything with you. However, Lin Shi could feel that she was just putting on a front, using playful words to cover up the fact that she was very nervous. Lin Shi stood up directly, stirring up the splashing water, and walked toward Kocho. Unlike Kocho, who was slowly inching along in the hot spring, he stood up and walked. The water only reached his thighs, revealing his lean, muscular physique above. Mr. Lin Shi, so you're the type who doesn't wear a bath towel? Kocho said with a smile. She's clearly embarrassed about being seen, yet she's so composed when looking at others. Lin Shi thought to himself, feigning ignorance. What's a bath towel? The sudden question left Kocho bewildered. Could it be that there are no bath towels in Mr. Lin Shi's world? She pointed to the white cloth wrapped around her body. It's this. People usually wear it when taking a hot spring bath to cover important parts. Oh. Lin Shi sat down beside her. We don't do that where I'm from. It blocks the flow of chakra. Chakra? Kocho asked curiously. It's this. Lin Shi extended his hand, and a small flame ignited at his fingertips. Chakra is a power that everyone in my world possesses, similar to the breathing style of your demon slayer core. My research this time is to see if people from other worlds also have chakra in their bodies. Extinguishing the flame, Lin Shi looked at Kocho seriously. So, take it off. Being treated like a hooligan like this, if it were anyone else, Kocho would have kicked them away with a flying kick long ago. But the person was Lin Shi, and they had an agreement. Besides, there wasn't a trace of desire for her in his eyes, only seriousness about the research. Kocho finally gave in, and slowly lifted the bath towel covering her body. Doesn't this make it look like I'm seducing him? Kocho suddenly thought, feeling a bit embarrassed and annoyed. But there was no way to ask the other party to do it for her. Otherwise, the scene would seem even worse. Really, Kocho secretly bit her lower lip. She took a deep breath and closed her eyes. With the mindset of the sooner it's over, the better, she sped up her hand movements. In the misty hot spring, it was as if a sun had risen, almost blinding Lin Shi's Sharingan. So big, so white. Lin Shi bit his tongue hard, trying his best to calm his mood. Damn it, Junior, I am the boss. I order you not to stand up right now. Thanks to his strong self-control, Lin Shi remained expressionless and raised his hand toward Kocho. Kocho suddenly grabbed Lin Shi's wrist. Mr. Lin Shi, what is the meaning of this? Although you said it's research, what's with grabbing my conscience right off the bat? Lin Shi shot back a question mark. Then, as if suddenly realizing, he said with a straight face, I forgot you didn't know. Chakra is generally stored in special places in the human body. Really? Kocho looked suspicious. I feel like you're bullshitting me, but I have no evidence. Why would I lie to you? I love telling the truth. Lin Shi said with a speechless expression. If the person I was trading with was a man, my hand would be even lower right now. Seeing that Lin Shi said so, plus his clear gaze, and the fact that his body didn't have any reaction, even though Kocho was half-doubting, she still let go of his hand. Lin Shi then naturally pressed down. MMPH. Kocho groaned, biting her lower lip tightly. How should I put it? This touch is really quite strange. It was soft like a water balloon, yet warm and smooth. And Kocho looked quite cunning, but her conscience was really not small. Indeed, you can't judge a book by its cover. Lin Shi thought secretly to himself, when suddenly he felt something warm flowing out of his nose. Oh no, Junior, you dare to rebel. It was as if the sounds of war echoed in his mind, and he gritted his teeth. Hiss! Kocho gasped, frowning, Mr. Lin Shi. She was just about to tell him not to grab so hard. But before she could finish, she suddenly saw a striking red mark appear on the man's nose. Then it erupted like a fountain, and he shot straight up, falling into the hot spring and splashing up a column of water. Kocho stood there dumbfounded, her skin turning red visibly to the naked eye. Ah! A high-pitched scream erupted from the hot spring. Tanjiro Kamado, who had just stepped out of the hot spring, stumbled. Nanny, nanny, is that Miss Kocho's scream? Could there be a demon in the hot spring too? In the women's bath. Kocho, wrapped in a bath towel, smiled. Mr. Lin Shi, could you please explain? Why did you suddenly have a nosebleed? Could it be that you had a reaction to my body? Lin Shi lay on the ground, sniffled, and said, I've been a bit overheated lately. Are you playing me for a fool? Kocho was so angry she laughed, a shadow covering her face. She stepped hard on Lin Shi's back and trampled on it twice. But because her strength was too small, not only did it not cause any harm to Lin Shi, but it felt like a back massage. Mr. Lin Shi, didn't you say you love telling the truth? Why did you have a reaction to my body? Lin Shi explained, I only said it was research. I didn't say I wouldn't have a reaction. You misunderstood it yourself. Don't attack my honest character, just because you're ashamed and angry, okay. Then it seems I misunderstood. I'm really sorry. Kocho smiled cunningly. Then even if it were a man, you would really reach out to that place, right? Honest Mr. Lin Shi. Lin Shi muttered quietly. Actually, I do tell little lies occasionally. Occasionally, huh? Kocho nodded with a smile, but looking at her expression, she clearly didn't believe Lin Shi's words. After all, he was a scoundrel who could act serious while deceiving someone into giving up their body. It was normal for him to have no credibility. Let's call this even, Lin Shi said. When we were by the train, didn't you use me too? And I was kind enough to catch you. Kocho was in the wrong here. She silently put down her foot. That's true. We both did things wrong. Then let's call it even and get along, Mr. Lin Shi, she said with a smile. After finishing the hot spring bath, there was still some time before Lin Shi would leave the world. He followed Kocho to the room and happened to see everyone eating. Yuma. Kyojiro Rengoku was still his cheerful self, holding his rice bowl and eating heartily. Mr. Lin Shi, Miss Kocho. Tanjiro Kamado greeted them enthusiastically. Lin Shi nodded and sat down in his seat. It was a very normal Japanese dinner. White rice, miso soup, served with sari and a few side dishes. Wow, humph humph, crunch crunch. A sound came from next door. Lin Shi turned to look and found a handsome-looking boy stuffing rice into his mouth with his hands. Beside him was a boar mask. It was the pighead boy from earlier, Inasu Kashibira. Inasu Kashibira noticed Lin Shi's gaze and glared back in dissatisfaction. "Do you have a problem with my face?" No, Lin Shi shook his head. Although it was truly surprising that such a rugged voice belonged to such a handsome face under the mask, Lin Shi had already known this from the original work, so he only took 2 extra looks before withdrawing his gaze. Inasu Kashibira, however, stared straight at him and said, "Lin Shi, I will defeat you. Just you wait." "Then good luck." Lin Shi took a sip of miso soup. This indifferent attitude made Inasu Kashibira explode with anger, and he let out a strange cry. "Inasuk," Kocho spoke up, "eat properly when you're eating." Hearing this, Inasu Kashibira immediately quieted down. Although Inasuk was usually wild and unruly, he was very obedient when facing Kocho. Perhaps it was because he regarded her as a mama. Lin Shi observed silently, and thinking of Inasu Kashibira's backstory of being raised by wild boars, he couldn't help but shake his head. It seemed there weren't many people in the Demon Slayer Corps with happy and complete families. Yakushi Nonou, Tanjiro Kamado, whose entire family was killed by demons, with only his younger sister surviving, who had also turned into a demon. Gyutomi Oka, whose parents died early, and whose older sister was killed by a demon. Kyojiro Rengoku, whose mother died early. Zenitsu Agatsuma, who was abandoned by his parents at birth. Kachu Shinobu, whose parents and sister were all killed by demons. Was this the price of becoming a member of the Demon Slayer Corps? Lin Shi felt a bit stifled, though he didn't really have the standing to say that. After all, in this life, his entire clan had been wiped out. Speaking of which, when Sasuke's clan was killed, he at least awakened a one-tamo Sharingan. Why didn't I even awaken the Sharingan? Lin Shi felt somewhat depressed. Could it be that he was more resilient than Sasuke? After much thought, he could only attribute it to the fact that he had known the outcome of the clan's extermination beforehand, and combined with the fact that he was out on a mission that night and hadn't witnessed it with his own eyes, the emotional impact was insufficient. It seems that knowing the outcome in advance isn't necessarily a good thing, Lin Shi sighed. Just after finishing dinner, a crow suddenly flew in from outside and landed on Kachu Shinobu's shoulder. "It's a reply from the master." She explained, took a small scroll from the crow's leg, and unfolded it to read. "What did the master say?" Kyojiro Rengoku asked. "It's an emergency meeting." Kachu Shinobu handed the scroll over. It requires all the Hashira to attend, as well as Tanjiro and his group. Tanjiro Kamado pointed to himself. He hadn't expected that he would be involved in this, but it made sense. After all, they were all witnesses to the Infinity Train. It was only natural to return and file a report. "Mr. Lin Shi." Kachu Shinobu turned to the side again, kneeling and bowing slightly. "The master asked me to express his gratitude to you and also invites you to accompany us to attend this meeting." Sure, Lin Shi nodded. He thought to himself, a Hashira meeting, although it differs from the original work, it should still count as part of the plot, right? However, Lin Shi didn't have the time to run over there, so he just asked Kachu Shinobu to notify him when the time came. As the countdown ended, the scene before Lin Shi flashed, and he returned to the familiar Uchiha residence. The settlement panel also appeared. Congratulations on successfully participating in the first act of Demon Slayer, the Infinity Train plot. Initial screening gained popularity points, 150,000 plus 100,000. Subsequent weekly estimated popularity points, 10,000. This evaluation is B. Extra double popularity points, 150,000. Lin Shi was overjoyed, and the corners of his mouth couldn't help but curl up. Sure enough, popularity from major plot points was easy to farm, especially in a plot like Demon Slayer where people died. He didn't even need to do anything special. As long as he saved people, the evaluation wouldn't be low. Including the previous ones, my popularity point reserve has now reached 188,000. enough for me to push my strength to Jonin. Lin Shi looked at the panel and thought to himself, Mall, give me some upgrades. In an instant, the Naruto World Mall opened, and a dazzling array of goods was presented before Lin Shi, appearing as if they were there for his taking. Lin Shi sneered, you little tease of a mall, watch me fill you up with a massive amount of points. Chakra buy, Sharingan buy, ninjutsu buy, in short just buy. Lin Shi's current mentality was like a destitute man who had suddenly struck it rich, going to a brothel to lavishly order beauties to treat his former impoverished self. Soon, his wallet slimmed down. Looking at the remaining balance of 8,000, Lin Shi finally stopped. He felt the surging amount of chakra in his body and let out a long breath. Jonin-level chakra, nature transformation of wind and lightning attributes, several ninjutsu, and Lin Shi's mind stirred, and his plain black pupils immediately turned blood red. A one-tamo Sharingan. From his perspective, the world seemed to have slowed down to 0.5x speed, and everything became so slow and clear. One of the abilities of the Sharingan was its powerful eyesight, which could clearly see through an opponent's movements. This was also the most feared ability of the Uchiha clan, because as long as they saw it clearly, they could synchronize and copy it. Imagine, when you were forming hand seals, the Uchiha opposite you suddenly started forming seals synchronously, releasing the same ninjutsu to bombard you, and you couldn't even overpower him. That feeling was as disgusting as it could get. Not to mention some perverts who could even predict your movements and complete their hand seals one step ahead of you. Clap, suddenly, there was a slight movement from the roof. Lin Shi raised his head slightly, and the second their gazes met, he flashed and disappeared from where he was. Disappeared, the Anbu operative who was peeking through the gaps in the roof tiles felt her pupils constrict. Have I been exposed? The Anbu couldn't help but be annoyed by her own carelessness. She had just sensed a fluctuation of chakra and wanted to check the situation. As a result, she had suddenly seen the other party's iconic pair of Sharingan and was startled, which caused her to make a slight, tiny sound. Unexpectedly, the other party was so sharp that he had noticed her immediately. I must leave quickly. Thoughts raced through her mind in a flash. The Anbu thought, if I'm discovered, I'll have no choice but to kill him. However, she figured there was no need to worry too much. The other party was a genin. Even if his real strength was that of a Chunin, he wouldn't be able to catch her. After all, she had the strength of a special jonin, and even ordinary jonin might not be able to catch her. Whoosh, she also disappeared from the roof. Jumping back and forth across several rooftops under the moonlight, just as she was about to escape into the forest, a boy with scarlet eyes appeared in her path. Get out of the way, I don't want to kill you. After the Anbu finished speaking, she added, I will pretend that I didn't see anything tonight. The other party seemed to ignore her and pulled out a kunai to attack. The Anbu had no choice but to engage, driving the kunai into the other party's heart in a few quick strokes. I'm sorry, you forced me to do this. However, she didn't feel the feedback of stabbing into a solid object. The Anbu looked up abruptly, just in time to meet those scarlet eyes. Hee hee, the boy laughed softly. Genjutsu, when? The Anbu was shocked. Sensing the sound of wind behind her, she hurriedly turned around to block. After blocking the attack, she slashed at the other party's neck again, but the other party just smiled lightly, and then countless crows flew out from the wound. Caw, caw, the hoarse cries echoed in her ears, and the crows circled, like a massive net blotting out the sky, surrounding her completely. The Anbu was sweating profusely. When exactly did it start? Suddenly, she thought back to the beginning, the eye contact she had made through the gap in the roof. Could it be that time? Having found the source, the Anbu hurriedly attempted to perform a release technique. But before she could finish the hand seals, she felt a sudden pain in her body. When she came back to her senses, her hands were locked behind her back, and she was being pinned firmly onto the tatami. Where was the moonlit night of Konoha village? This was clearly the bedroom of the Uchiha residence. You are not a genin, the Anbu said with difficulty. With this level of genjutsu, there is no way you just awaken the Sharingan. You've been hiding your strength all along. Lin Shi, who was above her, chuckled. Is it possible that I'm a one-in-a-million genius? Do you understand what it means to achieve enlightenment at home and become a sage in one step? Don't use the excuse of hiding strength to diminish my talent. The Anbu obviously didn't believe it, thinking to herself that if he really had that kind of talent, the Hokage should have been him. She struggled hard, trying to form hand seals to escape. But she didn't give her that chance. He sat on her, grabbed her crossed wrists, and pushed them hard toward her shoulder blades. Hiss! The pain of almost having her bones fractured hit her, and tears involuntarily welled up in the corners of her eyes beneath the Anbu mask. She removed her fox mask and discovered that this was actually a woman. Her hair was golden, her eyes were lake green, her skin was fair, and her features were soft. Her entire being exuded a sense of matronly warmth and motherhood. At this moment, with tears in her eyes, her pitiful appearance made one's blood rush, stirring up a desire to torment her. It's actually her. She was stunned. He hadn't expected that he would actually recognize this woman. Although she didn't have much screen time in the original work, her good son was quite memorable. It was Yakushi Kabuto, who was jokingly called the Dream Master by fans. And her identity was naturally self-evident. She was Yakushi Nonou, the orphanage director who had taken in Yakushi Kabuto and given him his name. Reencounter with Hinata. To think it's Yakushi Nonou, interesting. She thought to himself, if I recall correctly from the original story, she should be dead by now, or perhaps spying in some other country. I didn't expect her to appear here, acting as an Anbu agent to monitor me. Is this the butterfly effect from my transmigration? She shook his head and stopped dwelling on it. Yakushi Nonou appearing here was a good thing for him. Although this woman worked under Danzo, she was kind by nature and did not approve of Danzo's methods. Otherwise, she wouldn't have chosen to resign and become the director of an orphanage. In the original story, if not for Danzo threatening to cut off the orphanage's funding, she likely would have stayed there until she died of old age. And the tragic scene of Yakushi Kabuto killing his foster mother and falling into darkness would never have happened. Danzo truly has done every evil deed imaginable. She sighed inwardly, his gaze falling upon Yakushi Nonou. I have to say, even though this woman was wrapped up tightly, her figure was truly excellent. Sitting here, he could feel her astonishing softness. Though her waist was slender and cinched tight, the fruits of her labor were substantial, retaining several centimeters of thickness even when compressed. Is this body proportion even reasonable? One can only say it's worthy of being an anime world. She took a deep breath and raised his hand. Smack! The round moon quivered slightly, and Yakushi Nonou let out a muffled groan. Don't move around, she said, forcefully suppressing his rising heat. Yakushi Nonou, let's make a deal, shall we? Yakushi Nonou's pupils constricted. You know my name. Not just that, I know much more, she laughed. If I were to list them one by one, I'm afraid we wouldn't finish by dawn, so it's better if we get straight to the point. Yakushi Nonou was silent for a moment before asking, what kind of deal? Become my person. She said directly. Gather intelligence on Danzo for me and help me get rid of his surveillance. I can't do that. Yakushi Nonou gave a bitter smile and stuck out her tongue. At the base of her pink, delicate tongue, several black marks were clearly visible. Yakushi Nonou explained, to prevent intelligence leaks, Danzo long ago placed the cursed seal of the individual curse on all root members. We are unable to speak of any information regarding Danzo. You didn't even deny wanting to be my person, she laughed. Yakushi Nonou felt bitter inside. If she could, she only wanted to quietly be an orphanage director and watch the children she adopted grow up. But did she have a choice? Danzo had forced her out of retirement using the orphanage as leverage, and now she had been captured by this young man. He was clearly not the type to let her go just because she said she didn't want to. It was nothing more than being a tool for someone else. Compared to working under Danzo, the young man before her was indeed a better choice. She found the cursed seal of the individual curse in the shop, purchased it for 5,000 popularity points, and looked at Yakushi Nonou. All right, stick out your tongue. Yakushi Nonou didn't understand why, but she obediently complied. Lin she pinched her tongue with one hand and formed a hand seal with the other. Release. The next second, the hideous black mark on her otherwise pink tongue faded away like ink washing off. Yakushi Nonou naturally noticed this change. Although she couldn't see it with her naked eye, she could clearly feel that the chakra that had been branded onto the base of her tongue all these days had vanished. What was going on? Wasn't the cursed seal of the individual curse Danzo's secret technique? How could this young man know how to undo it? Yakushi Nonou didn't think Danzo would teach such an important technique to an Uchiha, so she looked at Lin, she with suspicion. I told you, I'm a 1 in a million genius. Lin she let go of Yakushi Nonou, stood up, and said, I only need to see a ninjutsu once to learn it. Yakushi Nonou was half doubting, but it seemed there was no more reasonable explanation right now. She knelt on one knee, head bowed. I await your orders. No need to be so tense. I'm not like that Danzo. Lin she said with a smile, once I topple Danzo and get through this crisis, I'll let you return to the orphanage. By then, I'll also provide funding to the orphanage, expand its scale, and help even more orphans. At this, Yakushi Nonou's delicate body trembled slightly, and her tone finally carried a hint of sincerity. Thank you. Next, Lin, she learned a great deal of information about Root from Yakushi Nonou. It mainly focused on the number of people monitoring him, their shifts, and the time slots. What made Lin she feel it was insane was that the old bastard Danzo was monitoring him 24 hours a day. He didn't even let him off when bathing or using the toilet. Yakushi Nonou had the highest frequency of duty because her intelligence-gathering skills were quite outstanding. Except for the morning and afternoon when she was with others, there were times at noon and night when she monitored Lin she alone. Which means, during these times, I can move around freely. Lin she thought to himself, his gaze drifting unconsciously toward Yakushi Nonou. Nonou. Yakushi Nonou looked up in confusion. You've been monitoring me according to this schedule since the day I returned to the village, right? Yakushi Nonou didn't understand why he suddenly brought this up, but she nodded. Then, when I was bathing, you also. Yakushi Nonou didn't expect Lin Shi to bring this up. As if remembering something, her face flushed slightly, and she nodded again. Tisk, what a loss. I was the only one being taken advantage of, being seen completely bare. Lin Shi's gaze landed on Yakushi Nonou, as if he wanted to use his Sharingan to see through the plump, fair figure beneath those black clothes. It's a pity. According to Yakushi Nonou, the shift changes in 20 minutes. That's not enough time to satisfy my craving. But if today doesn't work, there's always tomorrow. With Kocho Shinobu, he had to consider her feelings and the consequences, so he could only take things slow and steady. But with Yakushi Nonou, he didn't have so many scruples. Lin she pinched her chin, his thumb caressing her soft lips. Remember to take a bath when you come tomorrow night. This sentence made Yakushi Nonou's heart tremble violently. She looked up at him, but felt as if she had been scalded by the burning heat in the young man's eyes and hurriedly lowered her head. After giving a low response, she flashed away and disappeared from the room. Lin she had just exhaled a stifled breath when he saw the panel light up before him. Congratulations on successfully participating in the third act of Naruto, Yakushi Nonou side story. Initial screening popularity points gained, 10,000 plus 5,000. Estimated weekly popularity points gained, 50. Current performance rating, C. I didn't expect an unexpected gain. Lin she smiled, took a cold shower to cool off, and went back to his room to sleep. The next day, Lin she dropped Sasuke off at school as usual. On the way back, he heard a familiar voice. HMPH, Byakugan Monster. This time, without that weird adult, let's see what you're going to do. He turned his head to look, and sure enough, it was the same 3 Konoha demon pills he had taught a lesson to last time. They were currently incorrigible, blocking the road and bullying Hyuga Hinata again. Hinata was also a fool, not talking back to the insults, looking aggrieved and on the verge of shedding tears. Lin she shook his head helplessly and strode toward them, training Hinata. Hyuga Hinata was at a loss amidst the mocking laughter, a sense of grievance and helplessness rising in her heart. Just as she was about to squat down and cry again, she suddenly saw the expressions of the three people in front of her change, and one after another, they flew into the air. Why did this scene feel so familiar? Hyuga Hinata stared blankly at Lin Shi, who was the only one left in front of her, her large Byakugan filled with confusion. The three Konoha demon pills ran away crying again, and Lin Shi looked at Hyuga Hinata. Didn't I tell you to come find me at the Uchiha compound if you encountered something like this again? Why are you shedding little pearls all by yourself again? Hyuga Hinata lowered her head in shame. I'm sorry. I'm not scolding you, Lin Shi sighed helplessly. On second thought, given Hyuga Hinata's personality, how could she possibly run to a stranger's house to complain? He hadn't considered this thoroughly enough. How about this? I'll help you get stronger, Lin Shi said. As long as you become stronger, no one will bully you again. Even if they do, you'll be able to beat them until they're looking for their teeth all over the floor. Hyuga Hinata had thought she would be scolded by Lin Shi, but she didn't expect that not only did he not blame her, but he also wanted to continue helping her. This brought a touch of warmth to Hyuga Hinata, who had always received a strict upbringing at home. She said timidly, why are you being so nice to me? Because I want to ride on your popularity. He definitely couldn't say that, so Lin Shi made up an excuse, because I am an ally of justice. An ally of justice? Hyuga Hinata muttered softly, her little face slightly flushed. After dropping Hyuga Hinata off at school and agreeing to take her for special training at noon, she waved goodbye. Thank you. Hyuga Hinata stood at the entrance and bowed to Lin. She's retreating back. Returning home, she opened the chat group as usual. He discovered that Tatsumi was tagging him in the group. Tatsumi at Mr. Lin Shi, I have decided to join Night Raid. Misaka Mikoto, weren't you always in Night Raid? Tatsumi, it's a bit different. Previously, I was just doing some administrative work in Night Raid, but now I'm going to become an official member and carry out assassinations. Misaka Mikoto, assassination, that sounds scary. Tatsumi, haha, right, I had that same thought at first. Tatsumi, but after staying in Night Raid for a while, I realized it's not like that. Tatsumi first explained the corruption of the empire, the cruelty of the ministers, and how the people were living in misery. He then recounted the uprising of the Revolutionary Army and the work of its subordinate organization, Night Raid. Tatsumi, that's how it is. The work of Night Raid is just to clean up the corrupt maggots of the empire. Tatsumi, in other words, we are righteous assassins. Misaka Mikoto, wow, hearing those things makes me so angry, I really want to zap them with a lightning bolt. Misaka Mikoto, it's a pity I can't travel between worlds. Tatsumi, good luck. Gojo Satoru / Satoru Gojo, oh my, the empire is too evil. Kachu Shinobu, it's simply no less evil than the demons in our world. Lin Shi, actually they're even worse than demons. Tatsumi, Mr. Lin Shi. Gojo Satoru / Satoru Gojo, found a group owner, Piquet Ball. Kacho Shinobu, good morning, Mr. Lin Shi. Smiling, JPG. Misaka Mikoto, too slow, you woke up too late. Lin Shi, when I take my brother to school. Tatsumi, you shouldn't just be looking for me to say this, right? Tatsumi, yes. Miss Negenda knows about Mr. Lin Shi and is very interested, so she asked me to come and buy information from you. Negenda is the leader of Night Raid and a former general of the Empire. Because she witnessed the cruelty of the Empire, she defected and joined the Revolutionary Army. She values her companions, but is also cold and decisive, belonging to the traditional type of doer. However, what impressed Lin, she was not her personality or appearance. It was that she was one of the only 2 members of Night Raid to survive the finale in Akim ga Kill. Although she was only 26, because she had burned through her lifespan, it was estimated that she didn't have many years left to live. Even so, in Akim ga Kill, it could be considered a long life. While recalling this, Lin Shi replied in the group. Lin Shi, let's just say she owes me a favor. On the other side, after Tatsumi repeated Lin Shi's words, the sitting Negenda showed an expression of surprise. A favor? Isn't this equivalent to giving it away for free? But on second thought, Perhaps there were other possibilities. Neigenda thought to herself, perhaps in his world, promises are taken very seriously. Regardless, being able to exchange just a favor for intelligence on the Empire was still a great deal for Neigenda. Moreover, this favor was only directed at her, so she wasn't afraid of him using it to demand something from Night Raid. Fine, I agree, Neigenda nodded. Tatsumi repeated Neigenda's words in the chat group again. He then proposed several targets for Night Raid, and soon a large amount of intelligence regarding the targets was sent over. When Tatsumi repeated the intelligence one by one, Neigenda widened her eyes. She didn't expect that one favor of hers could actually be exchanged for so much intelligence. It was so worth it. However, she was also a bit suspicious. It is said that this Lin, she has the ability to know everything. Could it be that, after seeing my appearance, he fell in love with me? That's why he gave me so much intelligence. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense. Thinking of this, Neigenda couldn't help but curl her lips. She really was a sinful woman. At the same time, Lin, she looked at the intelligence he had sent and thought to himself, Tatsumi, oh Tatsumi, you must speed up the plot. Although characters were constantly dying in Akame ga Kill, important characters only started dying from the 6th episode. And according to Lin Shi's estimation, the timeline of Akame ga Kill was only around the 2nd episode now. That's why he only asked for a favor and gave so much intelligence. The goal was to speed up the timeline so he could participate in the important plot points. Those plot points about killing minions could be skipped. They would probably be criticized by the viewers in the comments for being long and tedious, and it was hard to say if he could even break even. After chatting with the group members for a while longer, Lin, she looked at the activity level, which had already reached 80. In 2 more days, I'll be able to recruit new group members. I wonder who will come this time. Lin, she looked forward to it and wished in his heart, I hope for something big budget, otherwise, it would be fine if the female characters are good looking. Soon, it was noon, and Lin, she went to the Ninja Academy to find Hyuga Hinata as planned. Uchiha Sasuke thought he was coming to find him, so he trotted over, followed by a Uzumaki Naruto. After spending time together during this period, the relationship between the two was much better than in the original work, and they often interacted at school. Brother Linshi, why are you here? Uchiha Sasuke asked. I'm here to find Hinata. Linshi smiled. Hinata? Uchiha Sasuke and Uzumaki Naruto were both stunned for a moment, thinking for a long time before remembering the girl who was always in the corner and had no presence. Why is Brother Linshi looking for her? Uchiha Sasuke and Uzumaki Naruto looked at each other in confusion. At the same time, a timid and weak voice sounded from behind. Seeing the 3 of them looking at her at the same time, Hyuga Hinata lowered her head, nervously poking her fingers. Lin, she spoke up at the right time. Actually, I'm here to take Hyuga Hinata for training. He then recounted how Hinata had been bullied by the 3 Konoha demon pills. After hearing this, Uzumaki Naruto was indignant. Those guys are too bad. Yes, too bad. Lin, she patted his head, so, in order to defeat the bad guys and protect yourself, you have to become stronger. Do Naruto and Sasuke want to come along? Yeah, Uzumaki Naruto nodded. Uchiha Sasuke had no interest. Although Lin Shi was his last relative, he really couldn't complement his strength. Uchiha Itachi became a Chunin at the age of 10, while Lin, she was 7 or 8 years older than him, but still failed the Chunin exams. Saying this might hurt him a bit, but Sasuke's goal was to kill Uchiha Itachi, and relying on Lin Shi's training, he probably wouldn't be able to do it in his entire life. I'll pass, Uchiha Sasuke shook his head. Ah, Sasuke, you guy. Uzumaki Naruto looked at Uchiha Sasuke's retreating back and said apologetically to Lin Shi, I'm sorry, big brother Lin Shi. Let's train together next time. After saying this, he chased after him, calling Sasuke's name. Let's go. Lin Shi said to Hyuga Hinata, and the latter nodded weakly. The 2 soon arrived in a forest. Knight, brother Lin Shi, what exactly are we going to do for training? Hyuga Hinata asked. That's a good question. Lin, she pointed in a certain direction. Do you see that tree? Hyuga Hinata nodded. Then she watched as Linshi walked straight up, moving across the tree trunk as if he were walking on level ground until he reached the top. "You give it a try too," he said after jumping down. Me, Hyuga Hinata pointed at herself. Seeing Linshi nod, Hyuga Hinata swallowed hard, then approached the tree, stepped onto it with one foot and took a deep breath. As she lifted her other foot, she suddenly lost her balance and fell backward. Linshi caught her with quick reflexes, feeling a mix of amusement and frustration. "Don't just try to walk on it like that. Use chakra. Focus your chakra on your feet, otherwise how could anyone just stand on a tree?" Was Hinata's comprehension too poor, or was he just not cut out to be a teacher? Linshi reflected for a moment and decided he should explain things more clearly next time. Hyuga Hinata turned bright red and apologized in a small voice. I'm sorry." "Why are you apologizing? You didn't do anything wrong, Hinata." Linshi shook his head and brought the conversation back on track. "Focusing chakra on your feet and walking on the tree can strengthen your ability to control chakra. Try it again." Hyuga Hinata was set down, took a deep breath, and stepped onto the tree trunk again. This time, with the help of chakra, she didn't fall off immediately. Instead, she stood steadily on the tree and walked upward step by step. When she reached halfway, her footing suddenly gave way, and she tumbled down, only to be caught by Linshi once more. I'm sorry, I still couldn't do it," Hyuga Hinata said shamefully. "I told you there's no need to apologize," Linshi said helplessly. "You've already done very well. This is training, not an exam. If you can't do it once, just try 100 more times." Besides, Hyuga Hinata's progress had actually exceeded his expectations. Linshi had originally thought she would fall after climbing at most a third of the way, but he hadn't expected her to reach the halfway point. In the original story, Uchiha Sasuke didn't seem to climb that high on his first attempt either. In that sense, Hyuga Hinata was quite talented. "Let's try a few more times," Linshi said. Hyuga Hinata gathered herself and challenged the big tree again and again. After several failures, she began to pant, and although she still wanted to keep going, it seemed her chakra and stamina were depleted. Linshi noticed something amiss. "Hinata, are you very hungry?" Hyuga Hinata was stunned. "I noticed you've been holding your stomach. Didn't you eat at noon?" Linshi asked with concern. I ate," Hyuga Hinata stammered. She ate, that meant she wasn't full. Linshi suddenly remembered that in the original story, Hyuga Hinata seemed to have a huge appetite. However, because of the strict upbringing of the Hyuga clan and her own personality, she probably had never mentioned it. So, for all these years, had Hyuga Hinata actually been in a state of hunger? Thinking of this, Linshi couldn't help but shake his head. What a tragedy. Not even being able to eat enough, while having so much training every day, who wouldn't be confused by that? "Let's go, I'll take you to eat." Hyuga Hinata wanted to refuse, but Linshi grabbed her hand and started walking outside. When they arrived at Ikaraku Ramen and finished ordering, Linshi said, "Just treat it as keeping me company. I haven't eaten since noon." Anyone could tell that was an excuse, and Hyuga Hinata was no exception. But since Linshi had put it that way, she could only accept with a blushing face. Soon, 2 bowls of ramen were placed in front of them. Just as Hyuga Hinata finished eating, she heard Linshi beside her say, "Bring her another bowl." Hyuga Hinata turned her head in disbelief and quickly waved her hands. "No, I'm full." Lying is not a habit of a good child. Linshi smiled at her. "I'm treating you today, so eat until you're full." "No, You can't train properly on an empty stomach." Upon hearing this, Hyuga Hinata thought of her poor performance earlier and couldn't help but lower her head. "Thank you." An extremely faint word of thanks came, and if not for Linshi's incredible hearing, he might have missed it entirely. He looked at the thanking Hyuga Hinata and found that she was flushed red from her neck to her face, with steam rising from the top of her head, just like the legendary Steam Girl. "You're welcome." Linshi smiled, and a panel suddenly popped up before his eyes. "Congratulations on successfully participating in the 4th act of Naruto, Byakugan Princess. Side story. Initial screening popularity points gained, 10,000 plus 0. Estimated weekly popularity points gained, 50. Current evaluation, C. Whoa, I didn't expect to get an unexpected bonus just from taking Hinata out to eat. Lin Shi's eyes lit up, and his gaze towards Hyuga Hinata softened a bit. Being able to eat is a blessing, he remarked. That's true, Uncle Ikaraku agreed quite readily. Only Hyuga Hinata was blushing from embarrassment, eating ramen bowl after bowl. By the time the empty bowls stacked up into a small mountain, about 11 or 12 of them, Hyuga Hinata finally said sincerely, I'm full. The little girl has a really good appetite, Uncle Ikaraku laughed. You'll definitely become a very powerful ninja in the future. Although there was no set rule, generally speaking, ninjas who ate more did have an advantage in terms of chakra reserves. So, Uncle Ikaraku's words weren't just empty talk. It's just that Hyuga Hinata was still blushing, lowering her head in embarrassment, seemingly thinking that eating a lot wasn't a good thing. It was probably related to the strict upbringing of the Hyuga clan. Then we'll be going now. After paying the bill and saying goodbye to Uncle Ikaraku, she walked Hyuga Hinata back to school. When evening came, he returned to pick up Uchiha Sasuke from school. By the way, we met a very strange uncle at noon today, Uzumaki Naruto said, holding his head with both hands. A strange uncle. He was a person wearing a green bodysuit, Uchiha Sasuke added. A person in a green bodysuit. The only person in Konoha who would wear a bodysuit and be called an uncle would be Might Guy, right? She thought of that green, shiny-toothed, bowl-cut guy and couldn't help but laugh. His name is Might Guy, and he is a Jonin of Konoha. Really? Uzumaki Naruto asked in surprise. That uncle is actually a Jonin. Uchiha Sasuke couldn't believe it either. It was hard to associate that guy who kept spouting off about youth with the image of a Jonin. It's true. Upon receiving confirmation from Shi, the two looked at each other, seeing the surprise in each other's eyes. Yash, tomorrow, let's go ask that uncle to train us. Uzumaki Naruto shouted, full of energy. Training? Shi was confused. Uchiha Sasuke explained, when we met that uncle today at noon, because of some things that happened, he started talking about this is youth and stuff, and wanted to take us as his disciples. As he spoke, he carefully observed Shi's expression, worried that he might overthink it. But she just felt a mix of amusement and frustration. Is this a good thing? He didn't expect Uchiha Sasuke and Uzumaki Naruto to actually be taken as disciples by Might Guy. Although their growth speed would be faster than in the original story because of this, what if they started adopting Might Guy's unique style? Thinking of Uchiha Sasuke and Uzumaki Naruto wearing bodysuits, sporting bowl cuts, and shouting this is youth, made him struggle to keep a straight face. Brother Shi. Uchiha Sasuke's soft call brought Shi back to his senses. He looked at Uchiha Sasuke's soft hair, which overlapped with the image in his imagination, and couldn't help but laugh out loud. This is a good thing. Might Guy is a very powerful ninja, so you must follow him and train hard. Yeah, I will. Uchiha Sasuke looked at Shi's smiling face, and felt something indescribably strange. But at least he wasn't angry. After dinner, Shi lay in his room, looking at the chat group while thinking about something. If I haven't miscalculated, including the time spent traveling through worlds, I'm already 18. Just after he finished speaking, a slight noise sounded from above. Before long, Yakushi Nonou appeared before him. No one is watching anymore, right? Shi asked. Yakushi Nonou replied in a low voice. Hattie. Shi chuckled lightly and lifted her chin. When she met that extremely aggressive gaze, Yakushi Nonou knew how tonight would end. The room was dimly lit, and the sound of rustling could be heard. The shadows cast on the sliding door swayed, and a figure slowly leaned down. Pillar meeting. Congratulations on successfully participating in the Akame ga Kill. Act II corrupt official or plot. Initial broadcast popularity points obtained, 1,000 plus 0. Estimated weekly popularity points, 10. Evaluation received, D. Shi, who was riding a horse, was slightly stunned to see the panel that suddenly appeared. I only provided some information. Does that count as participating in the plot? He secretly guessed that perhaps Tatsumi had mentioned him. I'm not in the scene, but my legend still lives on. Linshi thought of this, smiled, shook his head, and stopped thinking about it. Because he had more important things to do right now. After some traveling, it's about time, Linshi let out a long sigh of relief. Pack up, and don't let anyone notice anything. Yakushi Nonou pursed her lips and nodded. After packing up, she put on her mask and flashed back to the roof. Not long after, an Anbu appeared in front of her. It's time for the shift change, the Anbu said. Yakushi Nonou nodded in acknowledgement, eager to go home to brush her teeth and wash her face. However, just as she was about to leave, the Anbu called out to her, "Wait a second." Yakushi Nonou's body stiffened, and she looked at the other person calmly. She originally thought she had been discovered, but it turned out the other person was just taking a bag out from under his cloak. Well, thanks for your hard work on night duty. I brought you a midnight snack. Seeing that Yakushi Nonou didn't react for a long time, the Anbu asked in confusion, "What's wrong? Don't you want it?" Gulp. Yakushi Nonou said dully, "I don't want. Hick." What, so you've already eaten? The Anbu's tone was regretful, and he made small talk. You can't leave your post while on duty. It's a good thing it was me, if it were someone else. I'm leaving now. Yakushi Nonou interrupted him directly and flashed away from the spot. The Anbu withdrew his outstretched hand and scratched his head. I messed up again. I really wanted to ask her out for a meal. She woke up very late the next day. Sasuke had already gone to school by the time he got up, yawning while washing up. Looking at himself in the basin, though he was tired, his eyes were bright, and his whole temperament was more mature. Perhaps this is the transformation of a man. She sighed, then scooped up a handful of water and splashed it on his face. He intended to cook some instant noodles for breakfast, but Kachu Shinobu suddenly tagged him in the chat group. Kachu Shinobu, Moshi Moshi at Mr. Linshi, are you free? Kachu Shinobu, the Hashira meeting is about to start. Linshi, is food provided? Kachu Shinobu. Kachu Shinobu, standing in the courtyard, had a strange expression. The master sitting on the veranda asked, Kachu, what's wrong? Mr. Linshi said he would only come if food is provided. If not, he said to let us wait a while, Kachu Shinobu said, holding her forehead. What kind of joke is that? The man with white hair and scars on his face said grimly, just because he wants to eat, so many people have to wait for him. Although eating is indeed a very important matter, this is truly too childish, Kyojiro Rengoku said heartily. Everyone was talking at once, when Jiu Tomioka in the corner suddenly said, he is different from you all. His words seemed to press the pause button on time. Everything around them came to a sudden halt. After a long time, the white-haired man stepped forward, looking ferocious. Hey you guy, have you started to get arrogant just because you face the Upper Moon 3? 3 Hashira fought 1 Upper Moon and couldn't even beat him, and actually let him run away. If it were me, it wouldn't have turned out like that. Jiu Tomioka looked at him and said calmly, you need more training. Tanjiro Kamado, who was beside them, said in a panic, no, that's not what Jiu-san meant. It seems like that's what he meant, but anyway, it's different. Seimi is right. 3 against 1 and we were being suppressed. I really am a useless Hashira. Kyojiro Rengoku continued to laugh heartily. If there were a hole, I'd really want to crawl into it. Clap, clap. The master at the head of the group clapped his hands, causing the scene to quiet down. Then he turned in one direction. Mitsuri, could I trouble you to go cook? Me. The pink-haired girl was stunned for a moment, then nodded, no problem. To think that Mitsuri has to cook for that guy personally. The man lying in the tree, with a white snake wrapped around his neck and bandages covering his mouth, had a dangerous light seeping from his eyes. Not long after, the Hashira in the courtyard, except for Jiu Tomioka, lined up and continued the Hashira meeting. However, everyone kept glancing sideways at the man beside them who was devouring his food. Is this him, the one who defeated the Upper Moon 3? The white-haired man thought to himself. This guy is eating food made by Mitsuri's own hands. The white snake man stared intently. She ignored the gaze of the two, put down his bowl and chopsticks, and shouted who made this food. His booming voice and serious expression made Mitsuri Kenroji think it wasn't to his taste, so she weakly raised her hand and said, it was me. Is it not to your taste? No, it's simply delicious. She flashed in front of Mitsuri Kenroji and grabbed her soft, delicate hand. Please cook for me for the rest of your life. Mitsuri Kenroji was stunned, and after realizing what happened, her face turned bright red. The others present were also stunned, completely not expecting she to suddenly confess to Mitsuri Kenroji. One of Mitsuri Kenroji's hands was being held, while the other was pressed against her burning face, and she averted her gaze in a panic. Mr. Linshi, this is too sudden, right? This is our first time meeting. As soon as she finished speaking, Mitsuri Kenroji thought of her previous matchmaking sessions. Weren't those people also meeting for the first time, yet they were already discussing marriage? Besides, didn't she come to the Demon Slayer Corps just to find a strong man to be her husband? Mr. She defeated the Upper Moon 3 all by himself, leaving him with no power to fight back. Plus, he's handsome, and he really likes the food she makes. Thinking about it this way, isn't he the perfect marriage partner? Mitsuri Kenroji's face turned even redder, and her palms started sweating nervously. Let go of her hand. The Whitesnake man was about to explode with anger, his face gloomy as he spoke. He originally wanted to add that he wasn't allowed to speak so intimately with Kenroji. But seeing that there were still so many people in the courtyard, he swallowed the words back down. Mr. Linshi, you shouldn't tease female members. Kachu Shinobu grabbed the back of Linshi's collar with a smile and pulled him away from Mitsuri Kenroji. Where did you see me teasing her? I was being very serious, Linshi said, holding his head high. Hee. Kachu Shinobu returned a look that said, do you think I believe you? You are the challengers. The small interlude of the confession ended quickly, and everyone returned to their positions. Except for Mitsuri Kenroji, who was still blushing and shy, and the Whitesnake man who kept glaring at him, everyone else looked normal. The Hashira meeting continued. The master encouraged the Hashira for their recent performance in the room, while also emphasizing that the strength of the upper ranks was not something that could be matched by a single person. Speaking of this, he couldn't help but pause and look at Linshi. I wonder if you have any suggestions. Suggestions? Linshi smiled. We can only continue to train and get stronger. The master nodded in deep agreement and added then, could we hire you to train them? Me? Linshi scanned the Hashira and Tanjiro, and the others with interest. He looked back at the master. Then, what can you give me? Mentioning a trade, Kachu Shinobu's toes, tucked inside her socks, couldn't help but curl inside her shoes. Thinking about the other party's actions just now, Kachu Shinobu had a bad premonition. Could Linshi be thinking of trading training for the right to use her, or Mitsuri Kenroji's body? She was fine. She had been prepared for a long time anyway, and since she had already been seen once, it didn't matter anymore. But Mitsuri Kenroji was still a young maiden. Such a cheerful and enthusiastic girl must never fall into the hands of this lecher. Kachu Shinobu opened the chat group without changing her expression. Kachu Shinobu, at Mr. Linshi, what do you want to say now? Linshi, Mitsuri Kenroji is a good girl. I really want to marry her and bring her home. Kachu Shinobu, don't you already have me? Smile. Linshi, I want them all. Kachu Shinobu, being too promiscuous is not a good habit, Smile. Misaka Mikoto, what are you guys talking about? Kachu Shinobu, I will listen to your requests properly later, but please don't involve Mitsuri Kenroji now, okay? Linshi, hehe. What does hehe mean? Kachu Shinobu was confused and looked at Linshi in the courtyard. She saw him shift his gaze slightly, disengaging from the chat group. What would you like? The master asked. Linshi looked at Kachu Shinobu, then shifted his gaze to Mitsuri Kenroji. Kachu Shinobu's body trembled, and she looked at Linshi with anxiety. Never mind, Linshi suddenly said. I don't have anything I want for the time being. Let's put it on hold. I'll ask you for it when I think of it. Kachu Shinobu sighed in relief upon hearing this, but when she saw Linshi wink at her, a faint anger rose in her heart. This guy, he did it on purpose. Does he want to see her nervous? A vein popped on Kachu Shinobu's forehead. She was smiling on the outside, but inside, she wished she could bite Lin Shi to death. Too bad. I've been annoyed with you since just now. The white-haired man suddenly stood up and said, Sanmi. Master, I will not oppose your decision. The white-haired man looked at the master. But at least I need to know if he is qualified to be our instructor. Is this the popular, showing-off segment? Lin Shi smiled. Haimjima Jaiomai, you are truly a great wingman. Huh? Haimjima Jaiomai drew the sword from his waist. Save that talk until after you've defeated me. Sure, come at me together. I'm in a hurry, Lin Shi nodded. Yugai, Haimjima Jaiomai's veins bulged. Wind breathing. First form, dust whirlwind cutter. Haimjima Jaiomai kicked the ground, raising a cloud of dust, and instantly accelerated, charging like a whirlwind. Lin Shi had a tree branch in his hand at some point. Wind breathing. What? Jiu Tomioka's brow twitched. Kachu Shinobu was also surprised. It's not thunder breathing, but wind breathing. She clearly remembered that Lin Shi had used thunder breathing last time. Why had he switched to wind breathing? Could he have learned 2 types of breathing styles? No way. How many days has it been since he got the breathing styles? In such a short time, it was extremely difficult to learn just one, let alone the fact that Lin Shi had pushed thunder breathing to that level. He shouldn't have had the energy to learn other breathing styles. But the facts were right in front of her. The stance Lin Shi had taken was indeed the sword form of wind breathing. The Hashira, who hadn't seen Lin Shi fight, didn't think anything was wrong and watched this battle seriously. Although they highly acknowledged Lin Shi's record of beating up the upper ranks, they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, so they were very curious about just how strong Lin Shi was. Fourth form, rising dust storm, Lin Shi said softly. The moment Haimjima Jaiomai approached, he raised the branch and swung it upwards. Whoosh! It was as if a breeze blew, passing through the cherry blossom trees in the courtyard, and a few pink petals fell, swirling around Haimjima Jaiomai. Time seemed to stand still at this moment. Haimjima Jaiomai stared fixedly at the cherry blossom petals rotating below, slower and slower, until they stopped completely. It stopped. Haimjima Jaiomai was covered in sweat. No, it's me. I'm spinning. The moment his thoughts turned, Haimjima Jaiomai felt a violent tornado rise from the ground, launching him into the sky. Waza. Wind, it's real wind. The Hashira in the courtyard looked at this scene in disbelief. They couldn't imagine how someone could really use wind breathing to whip up a violent wind. Could this be the true limit of breathing styles? Why is only he coming at me? Lin Shi carried the branch on his shoulder and said with dissatisfaction, Didn't I say come at me together? You are careless. A sinister voice suddenly sounded from behind. The man with a snake wrapped around his neck appeared like a ghost, his scabbard pointing directly at Lin Shi's heart. This arrogance will be the cause of your defeat. Serpent breathing, second form, venom fangs of the narrow head. Water breathing, second form, water wheel. Just as the white snake man was about to strike, he did a backflip, the branch bringing up a stream of water, drawing a circle in the air like a water wheel. Splash! The white snake man was struck by the branch, stumbling, and was splashed with water, making his mood even worse. Not only thunder and wind, but he has even mastered water breathing. Kachu Shinobu vaguely guessed that this might not even be Lin Shi's limit. A terrifying thought popped into her mind. Could Mr. Lin Shi have already mastered all the breathing styles? It's only been a few days. Is he a peerless genius? Wow, 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 it's real water. So water breathing can be used like this. Tanjiro Kamado and the others looked at Jiu Tomioka. I am different from him, Jiu Tomioka said. As he spoke, he drew his sword. Is Mr. Jiu Tomioka going too? Mitsuri Kenroji covered her small mouth. At the same time, the long-haired boy who had been silent all this time also drew his sword. Muakairo is going too. Ha, this is truly blood-pumping. Kyojiro Rengoku laughed. It just so happens that I also want to experience just how big the gap is between me and Mr. Lin Shi. Mr. Kyojiro Rengoku too. Seeing the other Hashira all eager to join the battlefield, Mitsuri Kenroji simply closed her eyes, drew her sword, and swung it around like a ribbon. Forget it. Mr. Lin Shi, I'm coming too. Together, that might be a bit of pressure. Linshi said with a smile. Kocho Shinobu twirled the hilt of her sword. Mr. Linshi, it's too late to regret it now. Words spoken by a man must be swallowed, even if he has to break his teeth to do so. Linshi shook his head, pointed with one finger, and said from a high position, You seem to have misunderstood something. You are the challengers, new group members. Congratulations on successfully participating in the Demon Slayer Act 2 Hashira meeting. Side story plot. Initial screening popularity points obtained, 150,000 plus 100,000. Estimated weekly popularity points obtained subsequently, 10,000. Evaluation for this time, B, received double popularity points. Linshi, having returned to the Naruto world, looked at his gains with satisfaction. He had thought he wouldn't get many popularity points from the Hashira meeting, considering it wasn't the original plot. But he didn't expect it to be on par with the Infinity Train. Maybe it's because this chaotic battle was satisfying for the viewers. She speculated. The scene where the Hashira and the Tanjiro trio all appeared together could indeed be considered a major production. Even the final battle, the main boss of the Infinity Castle arc, Muzan, didn't receive such treatment. At this moment, a message came from the chat group. Kocho Shinobu, at Mr. Linshi, I'll leave the subsequent training to you. Linshi, sure. After resolving everything, Linshi naturally became an instructor for the Demon Slayer Corps. Next, he would be responsible for the training of the Hashira in preparation for the future final battle. However, the schedule would have to be pushed back a bit. Because she had accidentally broken the swords of Kocho Shinobu and Mitsuri Kenroji. So they had to go to the swordsmith village to get new swords forged first. I wonder if Muzan will still send the upper ranks to attack the swordsmith village this time. In the original work, Muzan sent upper rank 4 and 5 to attack the swordsmith village. As a result, they were eliminated by Takedo Muakairo, who had awakened his Demon Slayer mark, along with Mitsuri Kenroji, Tanjiro, and the others. This time, she had personally crushed Akaza, and Muzan must already be fully aware of it. It's just unclear whether he will change his plans, whether he will be more aggressive in hunting the Demon Slayer Corps, or hunker down in the Infinity Castle to accumulate power. She shook his head, deciding not to think about it anymore. Regardless, he would deal with whatever came his way. It didn't matter if Muzan came to the swordsmith village or not. Even if the plot wasn't triggered, he could still soak in the hot springs with Kocho Shinobu again. He wouldn't lose either way. Demon Slayer World. In the brightly lit space, countless pavilions shifted irregularly like building blocks. Several demons of various forms knelt on the wooden boards, seemingly waiting for something. After a long while, a faint voice came from above. Trash. Beside Akaza, a yellow-haired man laughed. Well, Muzan-sama doesn't need to be so angry. After all, Akaza Dono is only upper rank 3. It's reasonable that he would fail. As he spoke, he looked at Akaza with a pitying expression. Akaza Dono is just too stubborn. If he would only eat women, he wouldn't be limited to this level. Veins bulged on Akaza's forehead. Enough. Kibutsuji Muzan, dressed in a suit, coldly interrupted, I am deeply disappointed in you all. So many years have passed, and you still haven't completely eliminated the Demon Slayer Corps. Now, you've even been beaten into this wretched state. What face do you have to be giggling in front of me? Feeling the trembling from the depths of their blood, all the demons lowered their heads in shock. Even the Infinity Castle began to tremble slightly. Hantingu clutched his head and knelt on the ground, trembling like chaff. In the silent and oppressive atmosphere, Muzan's cold gaze swept over everyone, finally resting on Akaza. As the source of all demons, he could monitor the location and inner thoughts of all demons through this connection. Therefore, he had seen the scene of she crushing Akaza in its entirety. It was hard for him to imagine that a human could achieve such a feat. To beat an upper-rank demon, and the third-ranked one at that, so thoroughly that they had no power to fight back. At least upper rank 1, Kibutsuji Muzan glanced at the six-eyed swordsman on the far left, and suddenly something occurred to him, making his eyes dangerous. Yet, mixed into this danger, was a trace of imperceptible fear. He gritted his teeth and whispered, "It's even possible that he is approaching that man." The man Muzan spoke of was the strongest swordsman from several hundred years ago, Tsujikuni Yoriichi. The man who had once almost killed him, leaving scars that still throbbed even today. No, impossible, absolutely impossible. Kibutsuji Muzan clenched his fists, his expression ferocious. How could another monster like that appear? But that exquisite swordsmanship, and the speed so fast that even a demon's eye couldn't track it, forced him to believe in the possibility. That person, even if he didn't have the strength of Tsujikuni Yoriichi right now, was probably close to catching up. If given a few more years, perhaps he would have to return to the days of hiding and fleeing. Thinking of this, a surge of anger rose within Kibutsuji Muzan. He was the perfect existence. How could he be frightened by a human again? Investigate for me. You must find that person. No matter the cost, you must nip him in the bud. 2 days passed in a flash. Early in the morning, Lin Shi tagged all members in the chat group as usual. Lin Shi, at all members, time to do missions. New group members will join today. Misaka Mikoto. I wonder what kind of people the new members will be. Misaka Mikoto. Oh my, before we knew it, we're becoming seniors too. Lin Shi, you only joined 10 days ago. Misaka Mikoto, mind your own business. Even if it's just a day earlier or a second earlier, I'm still a senior. Satoru Gojo, I hope they're interesting guys. Kachu Shinobu, it would be terrible if the new members have eccentric personalities. Tatsumi, I don't think so. Everyone was chatting away. When Lin Shi saw the group activity reach 100, a button popped up asking whether to upgrade the chat group. Upgrade, he pressed it without hesitation. Chat group is upgrading. Upgrade successful. Group level, LV1 right arrow 2 up arrow. Group member limit, 5 right arrow 10 up arrow. Recruiting new members. Iren Yeager has joined the chat group. Whitebeard has joined the chat group. Lumine has joined the chat group. Yagami Light has joined the chat group. Fryerin has joined the chat group. Current group level is LV2. Please be more active to increase the group level. More group members are on their way. Iren from Attack on Titan, Whitebeard from One Piece, Lumine from Genshin Impact, Yagami Light from Death Note, and Fryerin from Fryerin. Beyond Journey's End. Lin Shi recognized everyone's origins at a glance. They were all old acquaintances. Aside from the hot characters in the anime world, even the traveler from the game world had joined. Just think of how many popularity points this would be. It's stable, everything is stable. While Lin Shi was fantasizing about punching Naruto and kicking the 4 emperors, the new members in the group also began to appear. Iren, what is this? A side effect of the Titan. Lumine, a new world is calling me. Yagami Light, a real name. Fryerin, this doesn't look like a demon's trick. Whitebeard, Gyurararara, are you all people from other worlds? Interesting, do you want to become my sons? World of Giants launch. Inside the dormitory, Misaka Mikoto felt excited upon seeing the new members arrive. She had originally wanted to welcome the newcomers and explain the situation while they were in a panic, satisfying her own desire to act as a senior. But the last one, called Whitebeard, said something that left her speechless. What's with this old guy? Why does he want to be everyone's dad right off the bat? It seems a strange guy has joined the newcomers this time, Misaka Mikoto thought. Misaka Mikoto, hey, old man, who are you? Trying to adopt people as your sons right from the start. Whitebeard, old man, it's been a long time since anyone called me that, Gyurarara. Whitebeard, as for my name, listen well, little girl. I am the Emperor of the Sea in the New World. Misaka Mikoto, sounds intimidating, but one shock from me and you'll settle down. Whitebeard, Gyurarara, many people say that, but not a single one has ever beaten me. Satoru Gojo, Emperor of the Sea, huh? Are you really that strong, old man? In the middle of the boundless ocean, a large ship flying the Whitebeard skull flag was sailing along. Whitebeard, who had an IV drip attached to him, suddenly burst into loud laughter, drawing the attention of everyone else. Yo, Pops, a man with a tuft of yellow hair on his head laughed. You seem very happy today. Did something happen? Gyururara just thought of some happy things. Whitebeard laughed and didn't mention the chat group. The main reason was that this matter was too bizarre. If he told them, they probably wouldn't believe him and would just think he was frail from old age and hallucinating. Whitebeard shook his head and continued looking at the blue interface. It seems my later years won't be too boring. The yellow-haired man didn't understand, but since Pops was happy, he was happy too. After all, since Blackbeard had stolen the devil fruit and defected, and Ace had gone after him, Pops hadn't laughed in a long time. Yash, let's have a banquet today. Messages in the chat group continued. After the initial surprise, everyone slowly accepted this reality. Lin, she jumped in at the right moment to trot out his know-it-all spiel again, hoping to see if there were any opportunities to trigger a plot. But aside from the inquisitive Friaren and the naive greenhorn Eren, the others didn't seem very interested. It made sense. As an emperor of the sea, Whitebeard had already reached the pinnacle of the pirate world, so what else would he want to know? As for Yagami Light and Lumine, one was determined to be the god of the world and only believed in his own intellect, and he hadn't encountered any particular crises. The other was a traveler who only cared about the meaning of the journey. Any puzzles encountered were solved on their own, and it didn't matter if they couldn't be solved. Naturally, there was no information needed that had to be obtained through trading. As for Friaren and Eren, although they proposed trades, the content was truly frustrating for him. Eren, I want to know the method to wipe out all the titans. Friaren, I want to know the method to wipe out all the demons. Wow, 2 killing machines. Lin, she felt dizzy. He couldn't exactly tell Eren, if you go kiss the back of Historia's hand right now, you'll know everything, could he? Who would make up for the missing plot and popularity points for me then? And Friaren's request was even more difficult for him. How could he tell her something that wasn't even written in the original work? After thinking about it, Lin, she decided to play the riddle maker and replied to both of them in the group. Lin Shi, at Eren, sometimes not knowing the truth is actually a blessing. Lin Shi, at Friaren, difficult. Eren, no, what does that mean? Eren, you don't actually not know, do you? Tell me quickly. Eren, what kind of joke is this? What do you mean not knowing the truth is a blessing? That's just like being livestock. Eren, we are fighting for freedom, paying with our lives. The newcomers this time, aside from Mr. Yagami Light and Miss Lumine, all seemed more or less abnormal. Whitebeard was an old man who loved acting like a father. Friaren was a ditzy killing machine. And as for Eren, Kachu Shinobu looked at the rowdy Eren in the chat group and shook her head helplessly. Kachu, oi. Mitsuri Kinroji, not far away, waved her hands. Hurry up, hurry up. Let's soak in the hot springs together when we get there. Sure, Kachu Shinobu closed the chat group and continued moving forward. In a forest somewhere, a petite figure with white twin tails was holding a staff and staring blankly. Unlike Eren's rowdiness, Friaren fell into deep thought after seeing Lin Shi's words. Difficult, what did that mean? Did it mean that wiping out the entire race was difficult, or that it was difficult given her strength? Could there be some deeper meaning to this? In an apartment in Tokyo, Yagami Light spun the pen in his hand, looking solemnly at the chat group. He hadn't expected that after the Death Note, he would obtain another supernatural ability. And it was related to other worlds at that. Could it be that destiny doesn't just want me to be the god of the new world, Yagami Light murmured, but also wants me to be the god of all universes? Is this a summons from a new world? On the Alker, Lumine looked at the interface and murmured, Wow, traveler, look, that's in Azuma. The little white figure flying around nearby pointed to the island, surrounded by cherry-purple mist ahead. Payman, be careful not to get blown away by the wind and waves, Lumine said with a smile. I wouldn't, Payman huffed, then added, I hope we can find news about your brother there. I hope so. Lumine looked at the island ahead and brushed back the hair blown up by the wind. By then, we'll be able to set off for a new world again. At the Survey Corps, Eren suddenly went berserk and slammed his fist heavily onto the table. Eren, the black-haired girl nearby, said with concern, What's wrong? Are you okay? Iren. A deep voice suddenly sounded from behind him. What kind of madness are you spouting? Do you want to break your gear and get eaten by a titan? Iren snapped back to reality, looked at the short guy behind him, exhaled, and lowered his head. I'm sorry, Captain Levi. I suddenly thought of those comrades who were eaten by titans. Levi looked at him deeply, said don't let it happen again, turned around to leave and urged them. Hurry up and check your gear. The 57th expedition outside the walls is about to begin. Yes, Captain Levi. Everyone replied in unison. Iren, are you okay? A blonde-haired, blue-eyed boy asked. You look terrible. Phew, I'm fine. Iren wiped his face, regained his determined expression, picked up his gear, and walked out the door. Let's go. Let's kill every single titan until none are left. Judging by Iren's words, he must have only recently learned how to transform into a titan. Lin Shi thought to himself, that means the titan timeline should still be in the first season. He pondered and at Iren in the group. Lin Shi, Iren, are you going outside the walls now? Iren didn't reply. But Lin Shi could guess that he was probably right. Even if he guessed wrong, it didn't matter. It was only 1,000 popularity points after all. With his current volume, it was just a drop in the bucket. Lin Shi expertly opened the world-traveling function. Do you wish to spend 1,000 popularity points to travel to the world of attack on Titan belonging to group member Iren Yeager? Yes. Performing dimensional travel. The current world time has entered a state of stasis. Have a pleasant trip, Historia. A raven soared across the vast grassland, taking flight, its black eyes reflecting the mushroom-shaped cavalry formation below. The riders wore expressions of grim determination, their cloaks flapping loudly in the wind, emblazoned with the wings of freedom, a symbol of overlapping shields and wings. The Survey Corps. They were one of the 3 military branches within the walls of Paradise Island. Their primary mission was to investigate the origin of the Titans outside the walls, with the ultimate goal of eradicating them and reclaiming humanity's freedom. However, the previous 56 expeditions had all ended in failure. Not only had they learned nothing about the Titans, but most of their comrades had perished during these missions. The citizens within the walls, who had once pinned their hopes on the Survey Corps, gradually lost faith in them after repeated failures. At some point, they were no longer greeted with flowers and applause upon returning to the walls, but only with scorn and insults. But none of that mattered. The Survey Corps had never cared about such things from the very beginning. As long as there was one person still curious about the world outside the walls, as long as there was one person yearning for a life of freedom beyond them, the Survey Corps would continue to move forward. It seemed the heavens had heard the plea of the Survey Corps. For the 57th expedition outside, the walls finally brought a glimmer of hope. Levi cast a casual glance at the foolish boy following behind him, protected by 3 others. Iren Yeager. This guy, who could transform into a Titan, had given the Survey Corps a new spark of inspiration. If a human could turn into a Titan, could the colossal Titan and the armored Titan that had destroyed the wall years ago also be humans? If so, what was their objective? Is it possible they have already infiltrated the walls, or perhaps even infiltrated the Survey Corps? Recalling what Erwin had said to him that night, Levi tightened his grip on the reins, his eyes turning icy cold. Regardless of what those bastards were planning, he would root them out one by one and kill them. Suddenly, 3 black lines shot up into the sky from the forest on the right. A black signal flare. Did they run into trouble? Iren felt a tightening in his chest. Iren, Levi suddenly said. Captain Levi. Iren looked at him, puzzled. Remember what I told you. Trust your comrades. Levi said without looking back. Iren didn't quite understand, but hearing Levi's serious tone, his heart sank involuntarily. He nodded, feeling a bit nervous. He didn't know if it was just psychological, but he felt a weight on his back. Was this what it felt like to carry the trust of one's comrades? A warm feeling surged through Iren's chest, and he failed to notice the man sitting on his back, who was observing the black lines in the sky with great interest. Not just him, but even Levi and the others nearby, didn't notice anything unusual at all. Even after the man disappeared, everyone continued moving forward as if he had never appeared at all. In the rear right flank, within the support squad, a dark-skinned woman with short hair yawned, looking listless and completely lacking the sense of crisis one should have outside the walls. "Emir, pull yourself together," said the blonde girl riding beside her. "We are outside the walls. It would be disastrous if we ran into a titan." "What's there to be afraid of? If we run into a titan, we just kill it." Emir curled her lip, speaking with complete indifference. In fact, as a human capable of transforming into a titan, she truly didn't take the dangers outside the walls seriously. If she really encountered a titan she couldn't handle, she could just transform and escape. It's just that she probably wouldn't be able to stay in the Survey Corps anymore, nor would she be able to be with Krista. No, with Historia. Emir looked at the beautiful blonde girl beside her, hesitating for a moment, and just as she was about to say something, a purple smoke signal rose in the distance. "It's a request for support," Historia said. "Krista, you go," the squad leader in front said. "Yes." Historia acknowledged and was just about to lead her horse to provide support when she suddenly felt someone behind her, followed by a pair of broad arms wrapping around her. Historia looked up and met a pair of scarlet eyes. "Hey, who are you?" Let go of Historia. Emir bristled instantly, her eyes flashing with a fierce light. "Don't be nervous, I'm a friend of Iren's. My name is Linshi." Linshi smiled and looked down at Historia. "Iren is in danger right now, and I need to save him, so I'd like to borrow your horse." "Are you kidding me? There are plenty of other horses right here." Emir retorted angrily, staring intently at this strange person. She knew very well that there was absolutely no one like this in the Survey Corps, judging by his strange attire, his bizarre eyes, and his motive for approaching Historia so silently. Could it be? Emir thought of something, her hand under her cloak quietly pressing against her blade. "Did you come from across the sea?" "Across the sea." Historia looked at Emir, not understanding why her friend would suddenly use such strange words. And this weirdo behind her, there were clearly so many other horses here. Why did he have to ride hers? The broad embrace and the scent of hormones made Historia, who hadn't had any experience with men for over a decade, blush furiously. "Krista, what's wrong? Hurry up and go," the support squad leader urged. "Ah, yes," Historia replied subconsciously. But suddenly, she realized something was wrong. Why didn't the support squad leader react to this man who had suddenly appeared? And even though he was calling her, why was he looking at Emir? "Hey, what is wrong with you guys?" Emir also noticed this strange phenomenon. "Wake up, Krista is in danger. She's been kidnapped by a weird man." However, no matter how much she shouted, the others in the support squad remained unmoved, even repeating their urge for her to hurry up. What on earth is wrong with you all? It was the first time Emir had encountered such a bizarre situation, but the current circumstances didn't allow her to dwell on it. Historia was still over there, waiting for her to save her. "Emir, save me." The blonde girl on the horse cried out her name, while the man on the horse wore a lecherous grin. "Haha, beautiful maiden, let me find a place to eat you up." As he spoke, he even licked the girl's cheek. The latter cried with tears streaming down her face, "No, Emir." "Are you kidding me?" Emir's eyes were bloodshot with rage. She suddenly reached out and bit into the web of her hand. A golden light descended, and Emir instantly transformed into a 3-meter-tall titan, roaring as she chased after the horse in front. "Roar! Historia, wait for me. I'm coming to save you right now." Watching Emir head toward the support signal with the horse, a look of bewilderment couldn't help but appear in Historia's eyes. "Emir, Emir." Historia tried to call out, but Emir, as if possessed, didn't even look back. "What did you do to Emir?" Historia turned to look at Linshi. She knew that the changes in Emir and the others must have something to do with this man, who had suddenly appeared. Historia pursed her lips, even preparing to draw her blade. But the words Linshi spoke in the next second made her body stiffen, and she froze on the spot. "I mean no harm, Historia," Linshi said softly. "She just went to provide support." Historia stood stiffly, looking at Lin Shi with a terrified expression, and stammered. How do you know that name? Lin Shi didn't explain, only urged the horse to speed up. Let's go, it's time for us to provide support as well. Kiss, who exactly are you? Where are you taking me? Along the way, Historia kept chattering away with questions, while also attempting to struggle, escape, and counterattack. But no matter how many times, and regardless of whether she succeeded or not, she would always find herself safe and sound, still sitting on the horse, held in Lin Shi's arms. This made Historia feel incredibly eerie, yet she couldn't help but feel a bit discouraged. And after that discouragement came an unspeakable anger. Finally unable to endure it any longer, she revealed her short-tempered side and slammed her head hard into Lin Shi's chin. Hey, I'm talking to you. Lin Shi didn't mind, just smiling, didn't I tell you? My name is Lin Shi, I'm a friend of Eren, and I'm taking you to save Eren now. The same old excuse. Historia bit her lip and glared at him. Does he take her for a fool? As a member of the 104th Training Corps, Historia had long been familiar with the social networks of all her peers over the past 4 years, including Eren. As far as she knew, Eren didn't have a friend named Lin Shi at all. So this person was definitely lying. Historia puffed out her cheeks and kept elbowing Lin Shi backwards. Lin Shi took the opportunity to tighten his hold, not letting Historia move around. As they got closer, a creamy, delicate fragrance lingered at the tip of Lin Shi's nose, making him unable to resist taking a few extra breaths. Seeing Historia's soft, blonde hair, Lin Shi couldn't help but think of Yakushi Nonou. Both had blonde hair, but the difference was that Historia's hair was more lustrous, shining brilliantly under the sunlight. As for Yakushi Nonou, whether it was natural or due to her long career in the Anbu, her hair, even though it was blonde, wasn't very dazzling. Although it was just as soft, it appeared a bit duller. Lin Shi compared them secretly, thinking that if it had been Historia that day, he might not have been willing to treat her like a steering wheel. Giddy up! Lin Shi urged the horse to accelerate again, and they soon entered the forest. The dense trees blocked out the sky, making it the perfect place for using omnidirectional mobility gear. Historia had the urge to escape again, but before she could act on it, the commotion ahead drew all her attention. She saw the Levi squad and Eren's group galloping on horseback, with a Titan that clearly had feminine features running in pursuit behind them. Oh no, I have to go help them. Just as Historia was about to get up, she was pressed back down by Lin Shi. Yous, let me go. Historia struggled, but it was to no avail. Her strength was simply too small compared to Lin Shi's. Lin Shi looked at the restless Historia and shook his head helplessly. With your amateur skills, you want to go help. I'm afraid you just end up being treated like a yo-yo. Calm down, haven't you noticed anything strange? Lin Shi whispered in her ear. What? Historia was stunned. Look closely at your surroundings. This is the best place for using the ODM gear, isn't it? Lin Shi said, with Levi's skills, it would be easy for him to take down the female Titan, yet he hasn't done so. Do you know why? Historia thought about it and realized it did seem that way, so she asked hesitantly why. Because he wants to capture the female Titan alive. Capture alive? Why? Historia wasn't stupid. She thought of the reason almost instantly and stared intently at the female Titan. She soon discovered the clue. She is a human. Not a pure Titan, but a human who, like Eren, could transform into a Titan. But unlike Eren, these guys are enemies of humanity. Historia realized, so now they are trying to lure the female Titan to a predetermined location and capture it alive. Smart, Lin Shi stroked her soft, blonde hair. It felt like petting a little kit. Historia didn't pay attention to this, or rather, she had no mind to care right now. But to capture a female Titan alive, so many comrades have to be used as bait and die in vain. This is simply too cruel. Historia couldn't help but grip the reins tightly. Although she could understand the significance of capturing the female Titan for humanity, it was still hard for her to accept. Yeah, it's really too cruel. Lin Shi nodded. How about this? You kiss me once, and I'll save one person. Historia looked at Lin Shi. She didn't expect Lin Shi to suddenly say something so frivolous. to actually ask her to have her kiss him or something. But he seemed to really have the ability to save the comrades of the Survey Corps. Historia pursed her lips and, enduring her shyness, gave him a peck on the cheek. Is this okay now? Please save them. She shook his head. Not enough. I'll make up for what's not enough later. Historia looked at her comrades who were about to be killed and said anxiously, so please save them quickly. Otherwise, it'll be too late. However, She remained unmoved. Seeing this, Historia was both anxious and angry. She bit her lip as if she had made a certain decision. The next second, she cupped Shi's cheeks and kissed him hard on the lips. To be honest, the experience wasn't very good. Because she used too much force, their teeth knocked together, making their gums tremble. Anyone who didn't know better would think they were fighting. Historia's kissing technique was also very inexperienced. It was a typical total novice's kiss. It was just lips rubbing against lips, and because she was so nervous, she kept them pressed tightly shut. With no lubrication at all, it was incredibly dry. At this rate, her lips would swell up in no time, and they might even crack. There was no choice. She had to take the trouble to act as Historia's kissing mentor. He reached out to hold her supple waist. I have to praise this again. Although Historia looked slender, her body was full of strength. After 4 years of training in the Corps, besides the softness peculiar to women, there was more of a taut resilience about her. Like a gymnast from his past life, she looked soft, but she had plenty of muscle, and her body was full of explosive power. She wanted to pinch the soft flesh on her stomach, but there wasn't any, so he had to settle for stroking it. The feel was actually quite nice. Looking at the trembling Historia in his arms, he pressed his lips gently against hers, licking the corners of her mouth, occasionally sucking, biting lightly, and sealing it. Then he licked his lips, pried open her teeth, and pulled out her soft tongue as if sucking on jelly. Meh. Hot breath sprayed onto his face, and Historia's body was burning, feeling her body temperature rising constantly. Her knobby, well-defined hands gripped Shi's clothes tightly, her whole body's muscles tensed, and even her toes were straining. Don't know how much time had passed. She felt as if she had a fever, her head was dizzy, and she felt like she was soaking in marshmallows, her body floating. Until someone from the Survey Corps screamed and flew overhead. Historia suddenly snapped out of it and pushed Shi away. She just wanted to speak, but found her tongue had lost all sensation, stammering, numb. Unable to speak, Historia used gestures, gesticulating wildly and pointing at the female Titan, meaning now can you save them? Shi smiled and snapped his fingers. With a pop, it was as if an invisible curtain had been pulled away, and the surrounding scenery began to come alive. Figures on horseback appeared out of thin air, following behind them, just staring straight at them. Historia was completely stunned. Shi coughed lightly. Actually, I had already saved them. Historia looked at Shi and the members of the Survey Corps in disbelief. After making eye contact with Historia, everyone shifted their gaze away, feeling a bit guilty. Although there were all kinds of reasons and excuses, they had been watching the two kissing for a long time, so it would be a lie to say they weren't embarrassed. Especially since Historia had sacrificed herself for them, it made everyone feel both moved and ashamed. Well. The squad leader at the front scratched his face and said, Krista, you did a great job. If it weren't for you, we would probably be dead by now. The others behind also chimed in one after another. Yeah, Krista, thanks to you, we were able to survive. Whoever dares to make fun of you for this, I'll definitely beat them until they're looking for their teeth on the ground. Krista, you are my goddess. I'd even be happy to take over if I had to. Get lost, do you even deserve it? Krista is everyone's goddess. Goddess. Wah, everyone. Looking at the rowdy crowd, Historia was incredibly shy. She quickly sat up straight and hid back in Shi's arms, using his tall figure to block out all those words, feeling both angry and happy in her heart. What she was happy about was that Shi had kept his promise and really saved everyone. What she was angry about was that this person hadn't told her all along and had even misled her, deliberately showing her scenes of heavy casualties. And even let the Survey Corps comrades follow them, Watching her take the initiative to offer a kiss. So bad. Historia puffed out her cheeks slightly and elbowed Linshi in the side. All right, legends, that's it for today. If you're ready for the next chapter, smash that like button and flood the comments right now. Remember, we've got 3 days to prove this story needs to continue. Subscribe so you don't miss the drop, and I'll meet you in the next audiobook.